You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Thursday. Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Mike Schaefer. Why does he look like he's sitting so close to the camera?
I don't know.
Why don't you have your college basketball crown credential hanging behind you?
It might be that I'm not right there in the studio with you this morning.
I guess that would explain it. Well, do you care to add any context as to why you're not here this morning, or do we just buzz right through it? It's 6:01. You got a chance.
Yeah, we'll just put it this way. It wasn't a matter of being late today. That wasn't the concern. It just seemed safer to be at home at the moment, and we could leave it at that.
All right, safer to be at home. Is that does
Safer
not mean
for Schaefer to be at home.
Yeah, safer for Schaefer. That does not mean that Joey and I are any sort of danger or anything like that. But
I think it's safer for everybody if I was
actually, yeah,
it is. That's how I feel.
We would have been in danger, maybe, if Schaefer would have been here. So yes, safer for everybody, I think is accurate. So welcome to a Thursday show, everybody. We are happy that you've decided to join us on this final day of April. Could you believe it? April is nearly ended, and you know what, Joey? You in your all the game sixes talk have started to make me think maybe I'll start paying more attention to some NBA games tonight.
This is like the fourth time since 2002 when they expanded the first round format from best of 5 to best of 7, where it's like 6 of the 8 first round series went to 6 games.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot. And, obviously
all the Eastern Conference games, and then you got 2 from the Western Conference. The Lakers were up 3-0 on the Rockets, and now they're dealing with a game 6 back in Houston. That could potentially go to game 7.
Watch out.
Is Durant back playing? Did he play last night?
No, he did not.
Wow. And they won without Durant 2 in a row now.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, he only played game 2.
Happer, how many players on the Rockets starting lineup could you name without looking it up?
So they were getting introduced the other night, and I thought I did I say this on the show? Like they were getting.
I think you did.
They did the lineups, and I was like, I just happened to, because it was 6:00, right? It was the early game, and I was like, I know who these people are, but I couldn't believe that they were starters in the NBA. So I knew Şengün. I guess I didn't know that they were on the roster beforehand. So I don't know if this actually counts, but I knew that like Şengün was a person. I knew that Jabari Smith Jr. was a person. I knew that Amen Thompson was a person. I knew that Reed Shepherd was a person. And that was like, I mean, yeah, those guys are pretty deep cuts for NBA playoff starters, I would say.
I'm looking at this. So they had 8 guys play last night.
I did not know who Tari Eason was.
Yeah, I'm familiar with some of the names, but the names that I know the best on their team were 2 did not play coaches' decisions, and Jeff Green and Clint Capella. So
he's still playing. Wow,
Jeff Green is still in the NBA.
Yeah, he's
assuming it's the same Jeff Green who was drafted.
It is
Georgetown. Yeah,
that
guy's been around forever. 2007.
Yeah. So yeah, they're 3 bench guys. The guys who they didn't start: Dorian Finney-Smith, Aaron Holiday, and Josh Okogie are arguably more famous than their starters, who I'm sure are better basketball players because they're younger and they accomplish what they're looking for or whatever it is.
And don't forget Fred VanVleet's on that team as well, and he suffered a season-ending.
He got hurt.
Yeah,
really
he got hurt
early in the year, right?
Yeah, he did early in the year, and so they're pretty much two of their three best players aren't even playing at the moment. One of them isn't going to be playing in the playoffs, and then you got Kevin Durant. You're uncertain on his health situation. He only played game 2.
Yeah, that certainly changes the game a little bit if they have Kevin Durant and Van Vliet.
Joey, as a noted Lakers hater, do you get a little worried about the Schadenfreude getting a little too strong about the Lakers blowing this while knowing that your Celtics have yet to punch their ticket to the next round? Is there any concern there?
I'm not too concerned what the Lakers are doing right now because they're going to be they win one more. They're dealing with the Thunder in the second round. You know,
they're
Thunder
done.
They have it their way. It's going to be Thunder or Spurs representing the West in the finals. I don't think anybody.
I don't see any way the Timberwolves can get there.
I don't see any way the Nuggets get past the Spurs. Just they got great length, they got great defense, a well-coached team, and then you got the Thunder as well. Got a lot of guys on that roster, and again, they get to play their style game, which is going to the free throw line. Sorry, Peter.
Gross. Disgusting.
Yeah.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Okay, I was looking at the other starting lineups from last night. So the Magic started Jamal Cain, Paolo Banchero, Wendell Carter, Desmond Bane, and Jalen Suggs. I had heard of everybody except for Jamal Cain. I don't know who Jamal Cain is.
I don't know who Jamal Cain either, but I know the rest of those four a lot better than anyone that I played for the Rockets last night.
Okay, Pistons starters, Tobias Harris, Duncan Robinson, Jalen Duren, Cade Cunningham, and Asor Thompson. I've heard of all of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Duncan Robinson played with the Heat for those years where they made it to the finals twice. I think in 2020 in the bubble, and then when they nearly blew that 3-0 lead on the Celtics back in 23.
Okay, so Toronto, Brandon Ingram, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Jakob Pertl, and Jacoby Walter. I've heard of all those people too. How about Jakob Pertl?
I don't know who that is. Who's Jakob Pertl? That was the one I didn't know.
Jakob Pertl was like the only Utah basketball player of note. I remember he had like I don't know about a great run, but he was a Utah guy. They played in the NCAA tournament, and their guy was Jakob Pertl.
Okay.
Jakob. Jakob.
Okay. All right.
Check him out.
I forgot there was. So you remember the game. You know the game Wordle, right? So there's an NBA version of it called Pertl.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's just naming random NBA players, and they just called it Pertl just because it's the same amount of letters into the word.
Debo says, "How have you heard of Asar but not Amen?" I have. I've heard of both. We went through the Rockets starting lineup. I had heard of them both because I saw them both play at DJ Sokol Arena here in Omaha. That's the only reason how I really know them. Cleveland started Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, and Max Strus. How about that? That's a pretty good one. The only one would be Max Strus, but I of course know about Max Strus because DePaul, aka DeHall, aka Big East basketball fever.
Yeah, I know the name Max Strus too, but I don't know. It wouldn't be because he played for DePaul. I mean, he's been in the league for a while, right? Like
it's been a long time.
Yeah, okay.
Been a long time since DePaul had a guy drafted. I believe that was him, or at least play in the NBA. The Lakers started this guy named LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Luke Kennard. Okay, yeah, that's good. I think I would have got like basically the test is do you know these people exist? I would have got probably about 82% of those, which I feel very proud of that number.
Yeah, that's good.
I think 60%, but almost 0% from the Rockets, if not 0% from the Rockets, which is what prompted this entire thing. Now, I have a question. Do people still get mad at Marcus Smart all the time? Is he still a thing in the NBA? I mean, obviously he's playing for the Lakers, but there was that period of time where he was embroiled in a controversy like every other day.
Joey, can you answer this? Are people still mad at Marcus Smart? Marcus Smart.
Celtics fans, they have a hard time. They have a hard time because he was a fan favorite, but I guess with him being on the Lakers,
But when he was a fan favorite on the Celtics, everyone hated him because he was everybody else hated him because he was always angered
doing things. Yeah. I like Marcus Smart for what it's worth, but
he played a different style of basketball. He was a real aggressive player. He will sacrifice his body. He will get into you. He's one of those guys that will.
He most certainly will.
He won Defensive Player of the Year a few years ago, first guard since like Gary Payton from the Sonics.
I imagine he's doing similar things, Schaefer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he still like a really strong defender? I'm just shocked he's starting on a playoff.
He was starting for the Celtics near the end of his time over there, and he was a great defender. He can pass the basketball. I think the only thing that he really lacks is consistent shooting. He's not a great 3-point shooter. There's days where he just misses everything. Then there's very few occasions where he makes everything. And that's like a phenomenon.
So you can't talk to Marcus. You can't call him Marcus Smart anymore because he doesn't play for Boston.
He doesn't play for Boston.
Atlanta starts Onyeka Okongwu, Jalen Johnson, CJ McCollum, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, and Dyson Daniels. I would have got 3 out of 5 there. The Knicks, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and Jalen Brunson. Shout out to the Big East Conference. Plus a little Indiana fever there with OG Anunoby. Then let's see. Should we do the Sixers and the Celtics? The Sixers, Paul George, Joel Embiid, Kelly Oubre, Tyrese Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe. We're good on those.
Yeah.
Schaefer, anything on those?
I know the Celtics, or not the Celtics ones. I know the Sixers ones. Those are all names that I'm familiar with.
Celtics, Jason Tatum, Sam Hauser. Keita. What's his name?
Naima's Keita.
Keita, yeah.
Don't know that one.
I don't really know that guy.
Played for Utah State. He's from Portugal.
Okay, Derek White and Jaylen Brown. So
I know that Derek White has lost his touch. Twitter tells me.
Yeah, he shot 12 for 42 from behind the arc in this series. He's been really struggling since the return of Jason Tatum. I'm just hoping Celtics fans aren't looking at his podcast as a thing to blame because he's established his podcast, and I don't know if that's really affected anything. But I'm hoping Celtics fans stay away from the blame game of.
You never want to do too many podcasts. Maybe they can come up with a blame pie chart, and that will make it easy for them.
Yeah, they can.
Portland, Tumani Kamara, Denny Avdija, Donovan Clingan, Drew Holiday, and Scoot Henderson. Now that is a lineup, ladies and gentlemen. I do not know about Kamara. I know about the rest of them.
I'm just looking at their whole roster, and there's a lot of people I am not familiar with. Jermani Grant, I know. Drew Holiday, obviously.
Yeah.
Lillard's been out too, right? Like, he get hurt again?
Yeah. He's on the team, but he's not playing this season because he had that Achilles injury early in that postseason last year.
San Antonio, Wembanyama, Julian Champagnie, nice. De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, and Steph Castle. Look at that. I know those. There's some
lineup.
Big East guys in there. And then I could go back to the only two we haven't done in the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, so might as well just finish it off. Timberwolves, Julius Randle, Jade McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley, and Ayo Dosunmu. Nice. And Denver, Cam Johnson, Spencer Jones, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Christian Brown. There you go. All right. Yeah, I think I'm running at about, maybe like 75% of I know who these people are and I know that they exist. I definitely could not match them to a team if you gave me a quiz outside of the main guys.
Yeah, no, I think my percentage dropped as we went through some of those last Western Conference not finals, but Western Conference rosters.
What a fun game to start the show. Today is Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, and so we have guests, we have bits, we have topics. Brian Christopherson is going to join us at 8:30 as he regularly does. Max Olson will join us at 9:15, 9:20 as he regularly does. That is our lineup. It is Thursday, so it's time to get your opinions in. I have an opinion coming up at 8 o'clock, so get the opinions ready to go. Send them our way, and we will unload them for you coming up at 8. How do you do that? Well, I can tell you a few different ways how. You can text 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Or, of course, you can call that number throughout the remainder of the show as well. Send in a tweet at Happenschafe at Connor Happer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. You can email Connor or Mike at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox, or you could leave a YouTube comment on our YouTube stream. We appreciate you all being in the YouTube stream, especially as for the select few that show up right at 6 o'clock and are like, I'm going to throw in some comments. You have no idea how appreciated you are.
Very much appreciated.
It's really great to know that there is someone listening and that there is some company out there for us in the YouTube stream at 6 o'clock, right when we start the show. It's great. So we appreciate you for that.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So elsewhere today on the show, we're gonna dive through the this is the topic section of the show. We'll go back to some of the things that Troy Dannon had to say last night on the radio. Also, people are concerned about an email that they received yesterday as far as postseason baseball tickets are concerned. So we'll talk about that a little bit today in the show. Speaking of college baseball, had another nice instance of some RPI massaging last night. We love when that happens. I am excited to see which schools in the Big 12 opt into a $30 million credit line. That is an option for them now. Very exciting. The private capital has arrived to college athletics, and it is arrived to the most private capital conference that we could possibly have. The most obvious destination for private capital was always going to be the Big 12, and so now they have options.
Big idea, man.
Accept money. Big idea commissioner, man, is always got it. Also, as we go on throughout the show today, and we'll see when we get to this, but I would like to collect some more opinions on the topic that we stumbled upon yesterday and basically just tell me this. Will Nebraska win 10 games with Matt Rule as their head coach? We ended up in that very, very hard line yesterday. Will Nebraska ever end up winning 10 games or more with Matt Rule as their head coach? So let us know on that throughout the show as well. 402-951-1620. We will take a quick timeout. When we come back, I'd like to tell you what the worst part, arguably, about this NCAA tournament expansion is, and we will get to that on the other side. Thanks for being with us on a Thursday. It's Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. As you can see there, if you're watching along with us on YouTube this morning, or at 1620thezone.com via Twitch, Bananas and Bangers sweepstakes. All you got to tell us is what's your walk-up song. Let us know, and you can win a 4-pack of sweet tickets to see the Savannah Bananas play at Memorial Stadium on June 11th. $200 and a free duct cleaning of $900 value from McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. You can enter online at 1620thezone.com. I know the banana tickets are hard to get, so we have them here for you. Just tell us your walk-up song. Bananas and Bangers, powered by McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air, with some extra little goodies on top of it as well. So,
I think the game's actually on June 13th. I got to double check because
whichever the one at Memorial Stadium is, because we switched it. It was the Haymarket Park game, and now it's the Memorial Stadium game. So I think you're right, unless they're at Memorial Stadium for multiple days, which I don't think they are.
It is the 13th of June.
There you go. It is the first Saturday of the College World Series. So yes, Saturday, June 13th at Memorial Stadium, just for your scheduling purposes. So go for it, and we hope you win. So we talked yesterday extensively about how extending the NCAA tournament sucks and is idiotic, and continued to gain some opinions from a variety of different sides on the topic yesterday. And I found out I discovered, I suppose I should say, a new angle as to another thing that we have to suffer through. It's already enough, at least for me anyway. I guess people don't have to agree with this, and maybe you're just like, I'll brush it off, whatever. 76, 68 doesn't make a difference to me. I'm actually mad about this, and maybe I shouldn't be, but here we are. And so, I had to sift through yesterday all of the people, the stakeholders, I suppose you would call them, the main talkers in college basketball, a lot of them. But like the old guard, sort of the guys who have been on TV for a long time, they were all pretty much unanimously telling me yesterday that it's really going to be okay, and it's not that big of a deal. And basically, I am the idiot for all these things. So we enter Seth Greenberg, who did a video yesterday from his from his house in New York, I'm sure. And he told everyone to, quote, get over themselves. He said this: for those of you losing your mind that the NCAA tournament expanded from 68 to 76, get over yourselves, the former Virginia Tech coach said in the social media video. When you have these mega conferences, you're playing 20-game schedules, and you know what? You might be 8-12. But those 8 games you won, 5 of them might be against teams in the top 25. And then out of conference, the way things are right now, you see more good games out of conference. You might have 2 wins against top 25 teams. All of a sudden, you have 7 wins against top 25 teams. You got 7 wins against teams that are going to advance in the NCAA tournament. And yeah, your record might not be great. It might be 18-12. It might be 17-13. It might be like 15-18, by the way. But you're a team that can win games in the NCAA tournament. And more importantly, you're expanded 8 more teams. In my house, with my players that win 10, 11 ACC games, 7, 6, 5 games against the field, didn't get in. And how about the mid-majors? The expansion is going to potentially give the A-10 a better opportunity, the Mountain West a better opportunity, the Missouri Valley a better opportunity to get more teams in the tournament. So adding 8 teams, please, just get over yourself. College basketball in the NCAA tournament will be just fine. By the way, look at the non-conference games that are being played right now, because people aren't afraid to potentially take a loss because they know it will help their body of work. The NCAA tournament is in great hands, and 76 will have no impact in the regular season, nor will it have an impact on the NCAA tournament, which you are once again fundamentally changing. Thanks, Seth. What a great take by you. Idiot! God! You're an idiot!
Yeah, it's there's a lot in there that just feels inaccurate on the surface of that statement. I mean, the non-conference matchups are better, and we just had a team that won 30-some games that it was FOIA'd how many teams ducked and didn't want to play Miami of Ohio because, their body of work.
They're afraid of playing Miami of Ohio because the metrics would hurt them if they lost that game, and
Yeah.
even if they won that game, So it's a situation where I don't
necessarily agree with most of what Seth Greenberg was saying there. Also, the 8-12 thing, like, yeah, you might have 4 or 5 wins that are of quality metric. Also, if you lose 12 games, you probably lost to several teams that aren't NCAA tournament caliber anyways. So it cancels out. Like, I don't know. There's so much of this effort to try to make it seem like these teams that are playing in the larger conferences have a harder time of getting to the NCAA tournament already, which is untrue. Look, that's the fallacy in this whole thing. You can get there by just going 10-10 in your conference, winning 9 non-conference games, barely even needing to have like a great non-conference win to even do that, and you're probably going to be fine at 19-13 to be in Dayton as it is anyways. And if you're not, you don't really need to be there.
The argument that I see so commonly from these types, and I don't mean to put them all in a box, but I'm going to continue to put them all in a box. I mean, this is what I'm doing here. And so I want to go back to this part of what he said. He said, and yeah, your record might not be great. It might be 18-12, or it might be 17-13, but you're a team that can win games in the NCAA tournament. When has it ever mattered if you are capable of winning games in the NCAA tournament? There is probably, I don't know, like you could go as every single power conference, every single high major team, that's for sure, and probably half of all the mid-major conferences. So we're talking about, I don't know, 75% of the country, 80% of the country on the right night, they are capable of winning an NCAA tournament game. And so just because they have won games against NCAA tournament teams during the regular season does not make them automatically qualified to make the NCAA tournament. I hope that's not the road that we're going down here, because I hear that stuff all the time. And if you want to keep going down that road, and that is your criteria to let teams in the NCAA tournament, there will be no end to expansion. It will continue to come, because there are 200 plus teams who have beat NCAA tournament teams within a regular season of college basketball. And if we're just going to put all of them in the NCAA tournament because they're quote unquote capable of advancing in the NCAA tournament, that's not what it's about. That's never has been what it's about. That is a made up out of thin air thing to be able to prop up high major teams that go 15-15 in their regular season and make them look better. Of course, they have great wins. They have unlimited opportunities to procure great wins during the regular season. There's every single night. They play 2 games a week for 9 consecutive weeks, and they have all these opportunities to win games against good teams. Yeah, chances are they're going to win 3 of them out of their 18. Their chances are they're going to be 3-15 in the league, or at least, or whatever it might be, because teams lose basketball games sometimes. And so if we're plucking out individual data points to say, all right, yeah, this is why this team should make the NCAA tournament, because yeah, they're good. They're capable of advancing. They beat that team. It's so small-minded. It's unbelievable. Just because you beat a team that is going to advance the NCAA tournament. Like, once again, I'm a Creighton basketball fan. They friggin' beat UConn this year, who was in the national championship. In no world did Creighton belong in the NCAA tournament this year. They stunk, okay? They should not have gone to the NCAA tournament unless they miraculously won like 7 more games or something like that, which, I mean, they had opportunities, but nobody was arguing at the end of the regular season that they should have gone to the NCAA tournament. They beat UConn on the road. It's one of the best wins that anybody had in the country the entire year. They should not have gone to the NCAA tournament. So I have to.
You should say that again. Just keep running Creighton down. I like this part of it.
I have to hear this stuff from these people, and they tell me that I'm the idiot because I don't get it. And that's I can't. It's so offensive to me. Like I don't think they get it, and yet they keep telling us that we don't get it.
Here's what I don't understand too: is that we're just a tournament removed from having 14 teams basically make the tournament from one conference, including teams that went 6-12. and 4 teams that went 8-10 in conference play. So there was already a pathway to putting these teams in. You didn't need to expand to 76 so that you could put 19-16 Kentucky into the first 4, or give 6-12 in conference play Oklahoma a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament. Like they were already doing this. So this idea that this enhances things for everybody else, it just means that you can continue to pack more of certain conferences in there. I don't think there's any value for mid-majored schools. Like the Mountain West had 5 bids a couple years ago, right? So like when they're good, it's recognized that they're good and they've earned their way into the NCAA tournament. And so, like the idea that it's this olive branch to the mid-majors at San Diego State, the 72nd team in the country would then have an opportunity to play in a game. Like it just feels so farcical. And I mean, I agree with you. Like these arguments that are being made for it feel so easy to sort of slap down. Like I don't understand, outside of the people who stand to benefit financially from it, why anyone would be advocating for this. It doesn't enhance anything that you're doing. And as we went over yesterday, you're effectively minimizing or making things worse for teams that have earned their way into the tournament, because they're going to get teams, Arizona State as a 13 is a very different matchup than Troy as a 13. So you're not rewarding your 4. You're also completely changing the seed lines of 4, 5, and 6 and 11, 12, and 13 and making them all basically the same.
It's the same discussion that we have with the football playoff all the time. Like people will make the argument that, on whatever given year, that obviously the 3-loss Alabama team should be, I'm just making up a fake scenario, but actually this has kind of existed before. Like a 3-loss Alabama team who lost in the SEC title game and lost to Auburn and then lost to somebody else before that, they should be in above the, I don't know, the UCF of 2017 or whatever it might be in an expanded playoff. Or it doesn't even have to be a team from a group of 5 conference. It could just be a lower Power 5 school, because they'll look at it and they'll say, well, look at those 2 teams and then look at their talent levels, and Alabama is littered with 5 stars, and if you match those 2 up on a field, we obviously know who would win. Of course we do. This is not the point. Everyone always wants to do that. They're like, well, you tell me. And then the worst part about it is when it actually happens, like when Alabama does make a run in the college football playoff, or when they do get to the national championship, is like, see, you guys were going to leave.
Yeah,
that team
the multiple years they've won titles where they never should have even been in the field in the first place.
Exactly. And so this is exactly what's going to happen with the stupid NCAA tournament now. Next, I'm calling it the stupid NCAA tournament now, starting next year, which is one of these.
Please get that trademarked.
One of these 13 seeds that's in a play-in is going to make a run to the Elite 8, and someone's going to say Seth Davis and Seth Greenberg, the Seths, are going to be up there doing their stand-up routine, and they're going to be saying, you guys were going to leave these guys out of the NCAA tournament. See, my tournament rocks. You're an idiot. That's what they're going to be saying to us, and it'll be saying, you're an idiot. Hit me again with another John Fanta. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. That's not the point. The point of you can't tell me because they advance in the tournament, that's why they were deserving. The tournament field is the tournament field. We're trying to set up the most deserving teams to get into the tournament. It has no bearing on whether you are capable of winning games in it or not. That's just not a thing.
Yeah. How does our friend John Fanta feel about this? Has he opined on it? Have we heard from John Fanta?
It's a great question. Matt texted me and said that he was going to try and have Fanta on and probably talk about the Kentucky Derby. I haven't seen many opinions from him on the expansion. I'm looking at his Twitter right now. Just a lot of horse. Just a lot of horse going on right now.
Fanta's turned the page.
Yeah, he's
using the Diana Rossini playlist, and he's turning the page.
NBC's going down there, sending him down there, and he has turned to all horse all the time.
Horse crap call.
Exactly. So I haven't even I'm sure he's been on shows somewhere. I haven't seen him opine. Debo says we need Phantom now more than ever. We do. Well, if Matt has him on today, because he texted me yesterday and asked for his number, and I said yeah. And so if he has him on today, I would humbly request that Matt ask him an NCAA tournament question before they get into all that horse talk.
Hey, John, before the horse talk, let's talk about a different kind of derby. Let's talk about the NCAA tournament. And then
Get
you just go
off!
from there.
The
You're up.
idiotic
You're up.
and the idiot or the stupid NCAA tournament. Yeah, that's what we're calling it from now on.
Do you think he should let him know that we use those as drops?
No. Well, he could if he wants to. He would have no issue with it. I don't think he would have no issue with it. I'm sure there's many radio shows around the country who are using those as drops. So I just so you guys know, listening to the show, I don't think I'm going to stop being mad about this for a while. So I just want to let you guys know that I'm going to be mad about this for a long time. And then when it comes up again and the basketball season starts, and then when we get to the tournament, I'm going to be mad like 4 more times during the season. So just so you guys know, I'm probably not going to let this go for a while. I wanted to see if I got less mad about it after 2 days, and that has not happened. I'm still mad about it.
The take makers that you will disagree with will continue to perpetuate your anger. So it's unlikely it's going to subside anytime soon.
Yep. Just so you know, we wanted to give you a little bit of a warning there. I'm going to continue to be angry for the foreseeable future about this. Let's take a break. Speaking of getting into the NCAA tournament, we had a great instance of some RPI massaging last night. So we'll give you an update on that and see if it worked for that team when we come back on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. Happer Schaefer rolls on here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone Radio Network. The half-off deal this week is for the Woodcliff Restaurant, voted as Omaha's best outdoor patio. Delicious food, perfect view of the lake. Also a weekly burger special on Thursday, Friday fish special. That is all there at Woodcliff Restaurant. Two $25 gift vouchers, which is, of course, a $50 value for just $25. That's half off. Tomorrow at 9, 1620thezone.com. Also, Unsportsmanlike Conduct will have your chance to win $50 of gift vouchers on their shows for the remainder of the week for $0, which I think is a pretty sweet deal. Baseball, RPI bingo is a thing. From our friends at 11.7 College Baseball, they have identified let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 24, I guess, games that could theoretically be canceled mysteriously due to weather. So they pinpointed 24 of them on their RPI bingo. And sure enough, the first one went by the wayside last night. It was the North Carolina Tar Heels, the Diamond Heels, coming off of their Tuesday loss to Coastal Carolina. They decided that they were not going to play due to the threat of impending weather against Queens University, the one in Charlotte, the new Division I program. RPI, by the way, 235. Not necessarily that's. I think that's an important part of the conversation here. There was a lot of folks who were opining on the weather in Chapel Hill last night. That was not really at all a threat to move. And so there was a person. Let's see here, a UNC podcaster. UNC's game against Queens this evening has been canceled. The reason given is potential weather, but looking at the forecast, they could have gotten the game in. This is a game where if UNC loses, their RPI obviously drops, but even with a win, because Queens is ranked so low, UNC probably still drops a couple spots on the RPI. That's probably the real reason why it's being canceled. Personally, I'm not a fan. Play the game regardless of circumstances. So I guess, Schaefer, we could talk about this for a few minutes. I mean, the reality of it is this is going to continue to happen. I'm more so looking forward to the dumb and funny reasons that are given as excuses. Like, there's going to be a couple buses that break down, even though I don't like buses don't break down. And like, this is at 1960 and buses don't break down anymore.
Why is North Carolina concerned? Aren't they basically a lock to be a national seed as it is anyways?
It appears that way. It appears that way.
I can sort of understand it if you're Michigan and you are, trying to put forth this idea that you should be, or you're contending for an at-large as a 3 seed or something like that. Like that I can sort of understand a little bit more reasonably than North Carolina not playing the Wednesday night game because they're worried about their RPI when they're more than likely assured of being a top 16 seed in the tournament. Like, that one strikes me as odd to use right off the bat. What were some of the other games?
Some of the other games on their bingo card were there is, by the way, an Omaha game on here. So next week, K-State is going to get a visit from Omaha. They have pinpointed that game as a game that could potentially be banged because K-State's right on the line for an at-large spot at this point. I mean, let's see, games that there's a lot of games involving bubble teams against just really, really low,
Yeah, see that? Not that I'm in favor of any of this, because I kind of feel like if you make your schedule, you should just play your schedule, and if you cancel that game, it should somehow work against your RPI anyways. But I'm okay with not okay with, but I'm more understanding of the bubble teams doing it than certainly North Carolina.
Here's a fix. And I don't know, like, I don't have the answers here. I just I'm going to try and get people started and move the ball rolling, get the ball rolling this way. like why, if we're really looking at the RPI metric so big and so much, and it has so much importance, or any one particular metric has so much importance, why why does it hurt you to lose a game? I just think, I get it. It hurts your strength of schedule, and that makes the total metric go down. But if you go out there and if you win the game, you shouldn't be, your RPI metric or your whatever metric that they're looking at should not be damaged in that case. That feels like an easy fix to me. Obviously, there's a math problem that goes with that too, because it's just an average of all of
Sure.
the things. Or maybe, I mean, maybe we don't do an RPI update, every single day, or a live RP, so people don't exactly know what one individual, because like I said, North Carolina played Coastal on Tuesday, and then they have an ACC series this weekend against let's see here. No, they have, wow, they have the weekend off. Is this true? They play Duke on Sunday, and that's it. They have a single one-off game against Duke on Sunday. So they must have a bye week
weird
in the ACC. But so, like, they're going to play more than just the one game against Queens in a given week. So, like, it shouldn't be looked at as a one game vacuum, that type of thing. But that's how teams look at it, because it's gonna damage their RPI for that one night.
My thing is, like, why did you schedule that game to begin with? What was the point of scheduling that game?
Well, you want to play games, right? Like, you want to play
games and play games, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So instead of playing games, literal games with the RPI. So it's I some of it is, to me, if you schedule a game, you just have to honor that. But it's hard when there's literal weather that can get in the way of baseball and like almost any other sport.
Yep, there's a tarp that may or may not be able to get on the field in a proper amount of time and things like that. Mike writes in on YouTube. He says, "I have an idea: a 76 team baseball tournament."
That's where we're headed. Just expand it.
You're an idiot. What would they do? An extra 3 regionals or something like that? I don't even know how that would work.
I don't either. I'm now imagining a world where they play regionals before that, like they have sub districts,
play in regionals,
or just have automatic buys. Have like the top 16 just automatically be in the super regionals or something like that, and then you have a bunch of teams in regionals just fighting. I don't know. You have a regional buy.
That would be the FCS playoff model, where you'd like you give your top 8 the already just hosting the super regional, then you have regionals to determine who plays into that. But you'd end up, I don't know how you would make it, the math work with the teams on all of it. You'd have to get down to 8 somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope they don't get any ideas. I hope nobody's listening to this conversation.
Don't listen to me.
Don't get any ideas.
I'm sure Nebraska fans would like that, to get an opportunity to host a regional.
That's true. You had to do anything to host a regional,
because the top 8 would be in the super regionals, and then you get the other 16.
Let me ask you this: do Nebraska fans even want to host a regional anymore with the email that went out yesterday about the tickets? Let's talk about that here in just a moment. I got a couple messages yesterday of like, whoa, what is going on here? So we'll discuss that and plenty more as we roll on. 7:00 hour coming up next on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. far be it for us to be the Live Golf update show. I don't know that we have talked about Live Golf, Schaefer, in our illustrious 4+ month history now, but I think now is the time. It's time to talk about Live Golf.
They're terrible.
If we're ever going to talk about it, it's now.
So yesterday, the Saudi PIF pulled their money, and so that pretty much kills the league because that's what they were going off of. They had spent nearly $6 billion on Live Golf, and obviously spent most of that procuring players from the PGA, and then they just had to explain it off to their friends in the PGA Tour of why they were taking all of this money to go play on a ridiculous tour and try to, be a good teammate to the Live Golf and say, oh no, it's good. We love playing
a literal
golf.
Good teammate with their stupid teams.
We love playing golf with shorts on and playing 2 days a week. And remember that was the whole discussion of like, oh, the golfers don't want to play all the time. And then everybody quickly realized, no, that is stupid. So the PIF pulled their funding. And so basically this thing is done at the end of the season. But I did see this morning an announcement from Live Golf. Are you ready for this? It might not be dead after all. Live Golf announces strategic board appointments and expanded strategy. The Global Golf League, Live Golf, blending world-class competition with entertainment and culture to grow the game worldwide today, announced new board appointments as the league focuses on securing long-term financial partners to support its transition from a foundational launch phase to a diversified multi-partner investment model. So actually, never mind. They're still dead.
Yeah, I don't see them pulling out of the grave on this one. So, it's that's okay. It makes you wonder though, like if you're one of those players on the tour, it's like you could have taken the hate and the money for like a couple year period and still ended up back playing on the tour anyways. Like that's
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
I think that's kind of why some people decided to do what they did in the first place. I always thought the funny part was those golfers knowing that eventually they were going to have to eat their words and go back to the PGA Tour, like trying to explain how cool Live Golf was in the meantime. That was the best part.
There's no way they would have done it, but it would have been amazing if the PGA could have taken an actual hardline stance of, "No, you left. Now you have to earn your tour card back. Good luck at the qualifiers."
Yep. See you on the Q school. I love quotes from the Live Golf guy. So here is one. Live Golf has built something truly differentiated, a global league with passionate fans, world-class talent, and demonstrated commercial momentum, said Gene Davis, chairman of the Independent Directors Committee. The executive leadership team, along with John and I, see a clear opportunity to help the league formalize its structure, attract and secure long-term capital, and position the business for growth while continuing to promote the game across the world. We look forward to positioning Live Golf for future success. There will be no future for Live Golf. It is dead. Thank you, though, for that statement. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I must have missed this about the in January the PGA announced their returning member program. That's what Brooks Koepka came back under, but DeChambeau, John Rahm, and Cam Smith all opted not to take part. So,
well, what do you have to do? What do you have to do?
It doesn't go into full. It's a performance-based pathway for players who have been away from the tour for at least 2 years and had either won the Players Championship or any of the 4 major championships from 2022 to 2025. Players had until February 2nd to decide if they wanted to come back, and Koepka was the only one that did. They are, with the returning member program expired, the PGA Tour is exploring plans for specific players to potentially make their way back under new and possibly more stringent restrictions. So
why don't they just say like, hey, you can come back, but you have to do hazing. We're going to haze you.
Happer, we can't be a pro hazing show.
No, we're not a pro hazing show, but like, this is basically what they're doing. They're just making them jump through a bunch of hoops to say, I'm sorry, I love you, PGA Tour, and I did take the Saudi blood money because it felt like a really good idea at the time, and I wanted $150 million.
What if you just capped their earnings based on how much money they took to go to live? Like,
that's a good one.
You just have whatever it is, you come up with a percentage formula, and if John Rahm wins an event, then that percentage he has to just leave for the PGA. That he can't take that money with him out of the purse. That way, you're sort of working it back in a slightly different place.
Yeah, that would be a more dignified way to do it. I'm thinking
less humiliation oriented. Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking dunk tank or something like that, or they go out and, they go out on the middle of some fairway. So they go out in the middle at the Waste Management Open and they have to hit, left-handed or something like that and get booed relentlessly because they don't make the green every time. Like, whatever, or have some stuff get thrown at them that
seems to fly in your face of decorum, though, which I know is not the Waste Management Open.
It's already the Waste Management Open. You could, decorum is already gone there.
What if everybody had to dress like Jason Day at the Masters? Would that be humiliating enough?
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. They had to wear a high crown visor for a year.
Yes, I like this
on the tour. See, this is all I'm talking about. Just a little light hazing when they come.
They have to use belly putters. No, that would make it too easy for them. They ban those. Their clubs have to be like a half to a full inch shorter than their normal. Just something has to be penalized for them. Something otherwise, there's a pathway to return.
Something mildly embarrassing. G. Fred, you could come back, but you have to wear a big wet diaper for a year. What do you think about that?
I think you just take your money and stay home at that point, right?
I don't know. I mean, maybe you love golf so much.
Koepka wants us so bad he's wearing a diaper out there at the U.S. Open. I don't think so.
They get a mic. They get one of those big parabolic, like Dottie Peppers falling around with the big microphone. And he's just like squishing around the fairway all day long.
You know that noise. You have a child. You don't want that.
No,
you don't want that.
No, you don't. No, you don't. So we'll see. We'll see if there's any. We'll see if there's any hazing involved with the PGA Tour, and how they're going to let them back. But yes, there is a process that they have to go through. Saw this yesterday, Schaefer. So I guess Nebraska season ticket holders, Nebraska baseball season ticket holders got an email yesterday in their Equitable Bank inbox, and it said this: if Nebraska hosts, tickets will be sold through a tiered on-sale prioritized using Huskers Athletic Fund membership levels as of March 18th, 2026. Season ticket locations are not reserved or held for postseason. Both reserved and general admission seating will be sold, and specific availability will be based on the customer's purchase time. Additional details, including on-sale timing and pricing, will be shared once hosting is confirmed. People saw this yesterday, and they said, wait a minute. So it doesn't matter if you have baseball season tickets. It only matters your donation level for the Huskers Athletic Fund, and that's how you get tickets to a baseball regional or potentially even a baseball super regional. And the answer, as far as I'm concerned, to that question seems like it's yes. Now, I got a lot of questions yesterday from people of like, first of all, is this real? Is this normal? I would imagine that this is a pretty normal practice, even though it seems odd, because there are disruptions when the NCAA tournament comes around and you're hosting a regional. It's not a home game. It's a home game given that it's being played at your ballpark, but it's an NCAA event. And so there's a whole bunch of different things that Nebraska will have to do if they host. From a seating perspective, there has to be a section for all of the other fans at the regional. So not just the visiting team for that game, but I suppose it's the same section, but for the other game, the two other teams, right? So you have to cut out spaces for those people, and ticket allotments from whoever it might be from those fan bases. And so that's going to throw off your seating chart no matter what. It's not just like you could just take the same tickets from the baseball regular season and port them over. You can't copy and paste that same map. So there is that piece of it. I think that's important.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have a lot of experience with this with the NCAA tournament for volleyball. I mean, the volleyball season ticket holders go through this every year. You don't get your seats back of where you sat for the regular season. You got to go through the process of whenever it opens up for you. And I don't know, I'd have to check with people if there's different times for different donors on it. What is interesting to me is that it's through the athletic fund donation. So does that mean like people that donate a lot for football tickets just jump to the top of the line ahead of those that have baseball season tickets?
Yes,
because that's
how I read it.
very different than how they've done volleyball. So that in itself would be a little unique in that regard.
How do they do volleyball?
As far as I know, it's volleyball season ticket holders have the first right of refusal, and then from there you work out, and they never have. I mean, I can't think of a lot of times they have open available tickets for sale to the public. Like those are usually snatched up by by the season ticket holders. And it's the same thing. They have to have sections for opposing fans and everything else. But as far as I've understood it, and people can weigh in if they've made recent changes, the season ticket holders get that window where they can buy those tickets, and they can't get their normal seats, but they can, they're open to being able to buy wherever. I do think it's slotted as to like people who donate at one level and buy tickets at one level for volleyball have the first right, and then it kind of works its way through. I would have thought baseball would have been similar with that. If you're opening it up for the whole athletic fund, that does feel a little different.
And that's I guess that's just how it reads. I don't know exactly what the what the step by step looks like here. I will
when
say
I had
this
season tickets for baseball, you didn't have to donate either. So like you weren't really getting donation points for baseball. Like you would get the generic points given to you because you were a season ticket holder. But it's kind of it would be a little unfortunate if the people that actually were attending the games get pushed out in favor of people who just donate money for another sport. But it's kind of where Nebraska's athletic department's gone with tickets in recent years. So,
yeah, I don't like I said, I don't know that it's completely uncommon. I will also say this. I think there's a lot of places who do it the same way that Schaefer mentioned as far as the postseason is concerned. I also don't know if there's going to be like 5,000 high level donors who are going to be like, yes, I want the
right.
I
think the people who want to go will find their way into that stadium. Like, I don't think it's I don't think you're going to get a lot of people that are just left out. And I'm curious what the season ticket holder numbers are for baseball. It's really ebbed and flowed over the last decade.
I think there will be tickets that make that plenty of tickets that make their way to to the actual lifers, the baseball season ticket holders who are there every game. And like you said, Schaefer, I don't exactly know how many baseball season tickets there are out there. But with that being said, I what's a good number to go off of? 1,500, 2,000?
Yeah, for some reason I had 2,200 in my head. I don't know why. That's just a number that I had in my head.
Let's
it's
just
probably
say
a little high.
Yeah. 2,000 baseball season ticket holders who, some of which go to every game, or if you don't have season tickets, maybe I think those tickets are probably going to get to you anyway. And then once it gets past that level, then like it goes to the general public. And and so I don't think there's going to be like, maybe the demand for a baseball regional ticket is like a little bit overstated. Obviously, there's going to be a ton of it. And if it does make it to the general public, then those are going to get gobbled up very, very quickly. But I don't think it's going to be one of those situations where like the 1,000 highest football donators in the Husker Athletic Fund are going to be gobbling up all those regional tickets, therefore axing all the baseball season ticket holders out of regional tickets. With that being said, the process is sort of interesting, and like I said, I don't know that it's completely uncommon, and I hope that we're understanding it right, given the screenshot that was out there yesterday from I saw it from 2C merch. So I hope that we're going about the reading that the right way, and I hope we're not making a mistake in what that actually says. But I do I do think that is probably relatively common or close to common for a lot of places around the country, and they find it as a good way to reward their high donors, which I mean that's kind of what it's all about, man. I mean, you're trying to get as many high level donors as you possibly can. It is definitely a change. There's no doubt about that from what it's been in the past.
I'd be curious if they restrict or limit the ability on the secondary market to sell those tickets too. I mean, that would be the one thing. Like, yeah, those donors might not go to the game, but everybody likes to make excess money. That was one of the things with the volleyball tickets of, if you could gobble them up and then you turn around and sell them for extreme profits. That's been a big part of the whole thing with the volleyball reseat. And so I'd be very interested in what the mechanics of that would be with baseball. But I genuinely think if you want to go to the regional game, you're going to have access to tickets and you're probably not going to have to pay through the nose for it.
And especially if you're a season ticket holder like that.
That's the biggest part of this. Absolutely.
I think so. Now we're talking about the actual functionality of it. Yes, you want to make sure your high level donors feel like they have enough perks and things like that to be able to, continue to get their money, of course. And there's a lot of stuff that frankly absolutely does get catered to them. But also like the second most important people here, or whatever. I mean, maybe it's 1A and 1B here, are the baseball season ticket holders.
The literal stakeholders of what matter
Yes.
for what you're doing.
Yes.
And that's why the volleyball reseat really makes me mad, because it just takes people who have cared about that program, actually go to the games, show up in mass for decades, and then they've obviously moved from the Coliseum to Devaney, and so however long they've been at the Devaney, I guess is the amount that you want to use, and you're basically telling some of those people, you can't have that ticket anymore. Not because they've done anything, because they're not showing up or whatever else. It's because you want to reward people who haven't been going to the games, who feel like they deserve the access because they give more money for other sports that aren't even volleyball. So it's like I have a problem with how Nebraska's handling their whole reseat process for volleyball. I understand that you have to do something, but I just feel like it was relatively cold in how you're just shifting some people out of their seats that they've had for over a decade and actually go to games. Now, I will say that they do have that caveat in there that they will watch and monitor, resale tickets and everything with volleyball. Now, I think that's a big part of this, because those volleyball tickets, for anybody that's familiar with that, like that secondary market is insane. Yeah. I mean, people have made.
Schaefer, I've never been to a volleyball game at Nebraska. Yeah, I'd like
to make that happen.
It is without a doubt the hardest ticket in town. Like there's
it's a phenomenal experience. I can I will get you to a volleyball game in
I've been offered a couple times by some listeners and stuff like that.
Your problem is you never have a free night available to do anything. So
that's
if we're being honest, it's not that you can't go to the volleyball game. It's that you've already signed up to do 9 other things instead.
There's no doubt about that. Yes, I'm going to put that on myself. Nice joking. Had to throw in a 9 there. Yeah, I have maybe overshot by myself, but yeah, I'll try and get it to. I've been saying it for the last 10 years. I need to get to a volleyball game. But you're right, Schaefer. It's quite the conversation that I think every administration is probably having right now across the country, and that every fan base is thinking about across the country right now. Like, how do we find a way to incentivize that we do want you, the fan of the team, to donate to the program and to join these places where you can get exclusive access to things and stuff like this. Like we're telling people we want your money. We also want your loyalty as well. And I do.
You want the fans there. You want the actual people that make the environment there.
And so that has to matter too. And so I wish that there would be more active ways to, and this is in a very general sense, right? Like, I wish there would be more active ways to incentivize the loyalty of, I talked to a guy upstairs last year on the Upper Bowl Appreciation Night. We had a list of, I have them somewhere. We had a list of probably 15 to 30 people that was sent to me, and these people had never sold their tickets or not sold their tickets this year. They had gone to every game. Obviously, Creighton wasn't, as competitive as they regularly are, but like those are really, really loyal people.
Yep.
And so we wanted to go around and we wanted to make sure that all those people felt, like they were appreciated and noticed. And I do think somehow that there needs to be a way, whether it's with a seating process or a ticketing process, for these administrations to be able to sort of acknowledge this with a more with more commonality here.
Yeah, I agree.
These people go to the games all the time. They don't miss it, and it doesn't matter where they sit. No, they don't. They're not donating big money to the program, but they're there. Like, they are loyal. They're not going anywhere until you don't appreciate them enough. Then they do go somewhere.
I mean, your stadiums and your projects and all of that are built off of your donors, but your actual program and the support is built off of the rank and file fan. I mean, you can't lose sight of that in chasing, money and chasing all of this in trying to be, you have to serve the people that created the program in the first place. Like, Nebraska volleyball is special because you had these people showing up over and over and over, even before they became the biggest show in the sport. And so, you don't want to lose that just because you're chasing the fact that some people gave money, usually for a sport that isn't even the one which they now want the tickets for, because it's cool and in vogue to have those tickets. This is what's going to happen for men's basketball. I can already see that coming. There's going to be a reseed at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and it's going to stink for a lot of people who were there in 2013 and they're like, you know what? I'm going to pay the money to be in the lower bowl when they open this arena because I want to be a part of it. And they've kept those tickets.
And specifically, Schaefer, they were thinking in 2013, I not only want to be a part of it, like, in on the ground floor, but mostly I want to be a part of it when this thing really, really takes off. That was absolutely a thought at the time. Obviously, they went to the tournament that year, but this is now the time, right? It's taking off, quote unquote, right? They made an Elite Eight, or a Sweet 16 run this past year. Now is when your investment is paying off, and it's been almost 15 years, and now
here comes the receipt. That email's coming this summer. It's coming this summer, so just be prepared.
Yeah. We got a lot of thoughts on this on Twitter at HappenShave. I want to get to a few of those when we return here. We also want to hear from you, 402-951-1620. Also, get those opinions in. I have an opinion is coming up at the top of the hour. If you have an opinion about tickets and things of that nature, you can send them our way. We will take a quick time out. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, just about a half hour away from I have an opinion. I know you have opinions. I just got one on the text line that I will save for the segment. I have an opinion.
I had some opinions during my absence out of state.
Really? Did you
Oh.
love them away?
I'm kind of coming up with the ideas as we've been flowing around this show this week.
Did you punch them in your phone or something like that?
No, it's they're in my head.
Just let them floating around. Don't put them on
Might
paper.
have been during all the events I was at and all the drinks I've been consuming.
Joey has been getting after it for the last few days. It has been detrimental to his health.
It was a roller coaster ride last week. It was a fun week out of state. It's a very special event.
Nice.
I was at a wedding.
You were at a wedding.
Yes, I was at a wedding.
There it is. We finally heard it.
Well, Schaefer mentioned it on Monday.
Oh,
I
that's
think.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Joey. I thought
Schaefer,
after
we
the
can't
wedding
hear
was fair
your.
game.
I don't know if your mic is
That's
on.
my fault.
Oh, okay. Sorry. There you go. Now you're on.
There you go.
Okay, sorry. I was just gonna say, Joey. I apologize. I mentioned. on
No,
Monday, but
you're good. You're good.
figured
You are
after
good.
the event, it was fair game. So
Yeah. After the event, it's fair game.
And that's
It's
where we
fair
are
game.
right
so do you
now.
have the shakes from all the drinking? Like, do you know, like is that what's happening here?
A little bit of that. A little bit of that.
We're going hard.
Wow.
One of the first nights was mixing with old fashions and beer, like alternating the drinks.
You were making old fashions out of beer? I don't think that's how this works.
No. It was alternating between the old fashions and the beer.
That's
That
not a
seems
good
like
choice.
a
I
dangerous,
know. I know.
dangerous precedent to set early in that trip.
I said YOLO.
You
Yeah,
really did. You were really going for it.
I'm still here.
You were like, give me anything I could potentially consume. And you were just like, all right, I'll take it.
And I didn't pace myself.
So we're the Happer and Schaefer show is just a little bit on the mend right now. We're all working our way back at this point.
Yes, we are.
So
I hope
we'll-
to someday be back in the studio. That'd
You
be
will
a good
be.
sign for me and my health.
look at that beautiful crown.
Be back for show number 80 tomorrow. On
Yeah,
May 1st.
Joey told me that this is the 79th show of Happer and Schaefer.
So if everything lines up, my birthday's on a Monday,
Mhm.
June 1st,
June 1st.
and that would be show number 100
Whoa, that
at that.
sounds like a party.
because of Memorial Day. So we
Look
have
at
the
that.
4-day week.
Oh, we get Memorial Day off. That's exciting.
we do. Memorial Day
Yeah,
is
I've
my
never had a
birthday.
job where you get weekends or get days off, like holidays off. You just work. This
Yeah,
is
I mean-
unusual.
We reworking in some way, shape, or form. If I can, so Memorial Day will be Selection Monday, I believe, in college baseball.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, we'll be doing something on that day.
Should we do a final bracket sim? Should we like on some way
Hop on
on
a
Memorial
screen?
Day Monday? Yes.
Might as well.
I kind of want us to do this. I don't
Yeah,
know
we
that
should-
we will, but
I mean, we could actually do a live like selection show reation show if you
Yeah, you
wanted
could
to.
just
If you're
do it on a video
really
stream.
jonesing to work on Memorial Day, we could do it.
yeah, we'll see what well, it's your birthday too. I don't want to take you away from your family and turning 30 whatever you are. 36, 35?
What year is it? I will be
Oh,
30.
no.
I will be 34.
Okay.
I'll be 34 in a couple.
I'll
Yeah,
be-
you're
I'll be-
inching closer to a bigger, a bigger one.
I'm
So,
inching closer to the 30s. I'll be 27.
27. Oh, to be 27. Oh, to be 27. Mike writes in, Memorial Day is always Selection Show Monday. Thanks. I didn't notice the days were so screwed up for me last year because I was coming back from Cincinnati. I had no idea what day. We just got off the plane and we went to DJ's dugout and then we did the selection show. That was pretty much all I remember. And then we took a bus to Arkansas and that was a great time. A couple things from you all on the whole ticket situation here. Let's see. Josh writes in. He says, thanks for talking about this. I just made a post on the Husker Power Facebook page about the same thing. In the past, it always went to the season ticket holders first, then down from there. It appears now the university is strictly rewarding the high donors. Yeah, I guess I didn't know if it had changed or not, but it
I think it's a shift. It's definitely
Yeah.
a priority shift.
does seem like that's the case. And Tenskers writes, it sounded like ticket prices for the senior day on Saturday for Nebraska softball are starting at $75. Now, I don't know where he was looking at those. I mean, maybe it was a secondary market type of thing, but he says that's the athletic department taking advantage of fan loyalty. I mean, I get like I get like dynamic ticket pricing for games with bigger demand. Yes, it is a little bit opportunistic for sure, but I don't have such a huge problem
Nope.
with moving ticket prices up for higher demand games. I really don't. Like
I have way more of an issue with not making the people that have invested their actual energy and time in baseball front and center. Like that, now if you want to put the ticket prices high and you price people out, whatever, that's your prerogative. But to basically be like, yeah, we're going to reward the donors of other sports because they have more money and whatever else, just seems to fly in the face of what you're trying to do with the crowds that you want there in the first place. So, but again, this is not anything new from the athletic department. They've said over and over and over with their actions that they care more about soliciting donation money and making their donors happy than they do about the rank and file fan. Like Memorial Stadium's going to be the same thing. Like that. Like this isn't going to be anything new by the time we get to the Memorial Stadium reseat. They're going to prioritize the people that donate the money over the people that have been there the longest.
I will say this, Schaefer, like, I don't know. There's something different. I don't care as much about the football part of it because, I mean, first of all, we're talking about an 80,000 seat stadium, right. And so it's less, but I always feel like that's kind of how it's been, even though it really hasn't.
Well, you've always had to donate. Like donations are high for football. You've always had to donate. So that's not anything new.
And for baseball and basketball, they have their sort of like unique little communities of fan bases and who are there at every game and like identify as Nebraska basketball fans or identify as Nebraska baseball fans, and maybe they care about football less, and they certainly aren't like major donors to the athletic department or anything like that to get higher priority football tickets or because they don't care as much because they care about basketball or they care about baseball. And so that yes, but I care less that is going to exist in Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, that's fair.
Infecting the other two. You know what I mean?
No, I totally get what you're saying there. And again, with Memorial Stadium and football, you're already donating at a level higher than what my football ticket donations were higher when I had them, certainly than anything I ever paid in basketball. And that's just the nature of the beast. Like that's what that is. I think taking that and applying it to those other sports just seems backwards to me, particularly when there's going to be a percentage of those people who will utilize their ability to get those tickets early just to buy them and put them on the secondary market. Less so probably for Nebraska baseball. I don't know what that turnaround would be, but certainly with Pinnacle Bank Arena and with the Devaney, it's going to be that for sure.
My guess would be it works out for this regional thing, like I said before. But yeah, I don't know about if the process is totally and completely sound there. Before we get to the headlines, got a couple things from Troy Dannon last night, who was on the radio. Troy Dannon, the athletic director at Nebraska, cannot stop talking about troughs. He loves talking about troughs. He talked about how he was team trough a couple there last week, and last night he goes on the radio and he made it clear to the Nebraska fan base that if they are interested in purchasing a trough or getting their hands on a trough
from
Memorial Stadium, that they will likely have the opportunity to do so after some quote unquote industrial cleaning. They're going to repurpose a lot of the things from Memorial Stadium, and I would imagine put it up for auction at some point after they gut the thing, which is great for people who care about the troughs.
What, like, you can't put that in your bathroom. Where are you putting this trough?
I'm thinking, so I thought about this a lot last night. Like,
I could tell, like you've thought about troughs more than you ever have in the last week.
Well, the conversation has mildly annoyed me a little bit. And then I thought, like, okay,
I couldn't tell.
If you're a Husker bar or something like that, then and you could put on the wall like, hey, this is a trough from Memorial Stadium.
People will attempt to pee in the trough.
Yeah, that's what you want. And that's what you want. You're actually using it. Like, I wonder if you could retrofit it and actually use it for your bathroom.
But it wouldn't be up to code.
Yeah, but it's a bar.
Have it a multi-purpose coffee table.
It's
Just have like cup holders on there.
Are any bars in Lincoln up to code of anything? I don't think so. So I don't know. Grab the trough if you're a downtown Lincoln bar, throw it in there and said this trough was peed in 100 years ago, and then we'll do a plaque and say we're the Husker bar.
I mean, it's possible. Someone will buy it. There's no question.
It's an option for you. The other thing that so be on the lookout for that. There will be some stuff that eventually, once they start gutting South Stadium, that will be available to the people. The other thing that he mentioned, Danon did, was that they are going to undergo a renovation of the baseball and softball clubhouses. $5.5 million to redo the baseball clubhouse at Haymarket Park. The softball will get a $4 million rebuild of its clubhouse. Danon said, quote, "We haven't touched baseball since it opened. The two programs deserve to have facilities that are state-of-the-art, just like everybody else." Now, I don't believe that is true. I think there was a clubhouse renovation.
Yeah, that's patently untrue. Yeah. I mean, they've done stuff. They haven't done as much as they've wanted, and they've had pushback from the owners of the Salt Dogs as to what they actually want to do, which is what has set the stage for this idea that there might be a different baseball stadium in the future. But if you're committing this money, it seems like you're punting the stadium idea for that, which makes sense because you have Memorial Stadium that's going to take up all of your time and money anyways. But yeah, I mean, they're trying to make the most of that situation, but I don't know that Nebraska baseball is super thrilled to continue to live in that stadium, which is unfortunate. I like Haymarket Park a lot, but
I love Haymarket Park. It's just nice. It's not owned by them.
Right. So, they can't customize it in the way that they want. They can't do what they want with it.
Will Bolt, I remember distinctly when they came back from that regional in 21 and they went to Arkansas, and they were basically like, I just want to do Baum-Walker Stadium here in Lincoln. That was their realization. And everyone's like, yeah, that sounds like an awesome idea. You could do the hog pen out and left, and the Husker, whatever it is. And they, the thing about Arkansas, obviously they built their $100+ million facility out past right field, which is never really going to be a thing for Nebraska baseball. But being there last year, they have tunnels that lead to the dugouts in both dugouts, and the clubhouse is connected to Arkansas's dugout, which you could get to very, very, very easily. Without really having to be out in public and out in public spaces. And that always made a lot of sense to me. It never made sense why they don't have that for a relatively new park that was built in the early 2000s at Haymarket Park. The players have to walk up on the concourse to get out to their clubhouse space, or the visitors do. The home team, they come out through their own little tunnel, which they're going to be about 15 or so years ago. But never made sense to me why they didn't have that. But once again, like you said, Schaefer, with Haymarket Park, there's just only so much you could do because they don't own the damn thing, and they're always hamstrung by the fact that they have to deal with the Salt Dogs on everything. Which I don't know why they don't want improvements. I don't know why they don't want to make their stadium better.
Nobody wants to pay for it. Like the university doesn't want to cover all of it. The Salt Dogs don't want to pitch in on it. The city, I think, doesn't the city have a stake in that stadium as well? So they have a partial ownership share.
I believe so. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, there's just a lot of voices, and generally you can't come to a decision on anything.
So, looks like there will be at least some improvements over to Haymarket Park, making the best of and it's so funny because we look at it, it's like, oh my God, it truly is beautiful. I mean, it's a great college baseball.
I love that park.
But Nebraska is very willing to make it a much easier place. And I know Will Bolt and his staff have a bunch of ideas of things that they could do to update and upgrade it. And they just can't. They have their hands tied behind their back, which sucks. So let's take a break. We'll come back. We got the headlines. We'll remember to get your opinions in for I Have an Opinion at the top of the hour. Got a few in. Could use a whole bunch more, as many as you could send in. 402-951-1620. We'll be back with the headlines after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, folks, it's Theo's favorite segment, the headlines. And I cannot wait to see/hear what Joey has cooked up for us today. Joey, by the way, I have one if we need any supplementation. I have a fun one if you're interested.
We have a competitive headline. We have a headline off.
Read your other two. Read your other two first. What do we got?
Okay. The first one is out in Canada. Winnipeg woman in good spirits after bizarre plunge into boulevard hole.
Bizarre plunge into a boulevard hole. Is this a sinkhole situation?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'm definitely interested in sinkhole updates. What's the second one?
YouTuber breaks Rubik's Cube record while skydiving.
Kind of self-explanatory, Schaefer, right?
Yeah, I agree. I want to hear the third headline option.
Casey's, former Iowa football star, partnered to bring back popular pizza.
I mean,
oh no.
Fundamentally, I am always interested in anything Casey's related. I would say I want to know more about this boulevard plunge too. So I kind of like both of those stories. Happer, you can decide.
Okay. Maybe we could use the Casey's thing for a little bit later. Let's check out what's going on in Winnipeg here. This is from the CBC. Once again, Winnipeg woman in good spirits after bizarre plunge into boulevard hole. Christine Keelback went out to a movie on Saturday, but the real drama happened after when she got home. You could say the event went in a whole new direction. Keelback's friends Linda and Jeff Reagan pulled up around 9 p.m. to drop her off at a house on Lipton Street in Winnipeg's Wolseley area. She got out of the passenger side, took a couple steps, and then they said I was gone, Keelback told CBC News Monday morning. The Reagans, still inside the vehicle, couldn't see Keelback anymore. They thought that she tripped and fell. When I came around, it was quite surprising to find my head and shoulders just above the ground. The ground had given away very fast. I have no recollection of the fall. It just happened very quickly. Jeff immediately ran to find something for Keelback to hang on to. He returned with a broom and a shovel that could span the gap and give her a brace to hook her arms around. She tried to boost herself out, but every foothold immediately crumbled away. Quote, so at that point, we said, okay, we got to call 911 because I don't want any further erosion of the dirt beneath me. And sure enough, the picture here is just a giant hole. They came and got her out within 10 minutes. They were so professional. They were so reassuring and kind. I immediately felt like everything was under control. If you could see the pictures, I mean, I was laughing. I had hurt my ankle or hurt my leg and something happened. I'm sure it would have been a little bit more shocking than it was. So she walked away seemingly completely unscathed here. And she just, fell into a hole that she did not know exist after getting out.
Did you scroll a little bit further down to see the firefighters and the whole setup to get her out?
It's
way
kind of
more
absurd,
involved. Yeah. Than I was expecting. And then that hole she was in, like, that would have been such a bizarre sensation. I would have spent the entire time nervous that the rest of the ground around it was going to crumble away too.
Completely. Yeah.
And then you're falling to China and who knows what happens.
Exactly. That's what I would have thought about the sinkhole at 68th and Pacific that
just randomly.
If my car starts to go down into I'm like, this is it. There will be no end to my falling. I'll just fall.
Have you guys driven over there lately?
Yeah, I think it's okay. Everything's okay.
I've still avoided that area just because of the thought of
you're worried about it falling through.
I can't get the image of that car slowly backing up out of my head.
It's really, really funny. I'm sorry to that car, the person who owned that car, but they got that thing cleaned up fast. We're good. We're patched up, and now we can have construction for.
And now they're patching other things up. I've heard from some more people that they've run into the pothole that I was describing on the
your pothole.
Yeah, can I sponsor a pothole? Who do I talk to at the city for this?
Oh, like when they sponsor like memorial highways and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, this is good. Mike Schaefer's front left tire memorial pothole.
Back left tire
memorial on Dodge Street near the expressway.
Yeah, I feel like I should be allowed to sponsor that. I'm sure they would love that. Just
We can
bring
go put a
more,
sign up for you.
more
Like Mount
notoriety.
Happer's
I
now.
don't know how you do it in the
Big
center
pothole.
though. That's the problem. You can't really market when it's in the center in the way that you could in either the left or the right lane.
You could repurpose one of those electronic billboards that never is in use and it's supposed to tell you what traffic is doing and just say, here are all of the people who sponsored potholes. And there's like a list of 45 people because there's 45 potholes.
We joke, but I think people would genuinely enjoy sponsoring potholes to make fun of the city of Omaha for this, by the way.
It's the same spots too. Like they'll fill the potholes and then the same spots will open up like several weeks later or a year later or whatever it might be. So maybe we'll be interested in sponsoring a pothole somewhere near you soon. We'll save that Casey's story for a little bit later on in the show. It's time for I Have an Opinion. Send your opinions to us, 402-951-1620, or whoever else you'd like to get in touch with the show. We'll get to your opinions coming up. This one's for you on the other side on 1620 The Zone. All right, it's a tradition unlike any other. Thursday, 8:00. It's time for I Have an Opinion. Some shows have mailbags. Some shows have debate segments. Some shows have, but nobody has I Have an Opinion. It's simply where you declare that you have an opinion, share that opinion with us, and then we read it on the radio. And it turns out it is a lot more fun than it sounds. Why is it called I Have an Opinion? I don't remember who first declared that they had an opinion, but it was this spawns from the Connor Happer show a couple of years ago, and I don't remember how it actually came about, but from then on it was just a segment. Now we're doing it here.
I'm just thankful you won this bit in the divorce court with.
I don't think I was ever really in danger of losing it.
Given that I was named the judge of this, there wasn't really much of a chance where we weren't going to end up with I Have an Opinion. I think we got everything we wanted out of Bit Court.
Yeah, and who knows? There could be old bits that resurface at some point.
That's true.
So, all right, Schaefer, I always give you the option. Where should we go first? I have tweets, I have emails, I have texts, and we could use more of all of those different things. So, where do you think I should hit first?
We haven't heard from the text line today, have we? So let's maybe start there.
All right, to the text line we go from the 402. I have an opinion. If I've attended every terrible weather baseball game all year, every year, even when the team sucked, I deserve a chance at my seat for the postseason more than some schmuck that's been hoodwinked into giving money to that joke of a football program. Bonus opinion, Fred Hoiberg is dreamy.
I don't really have any notes to offer on any of those. I have less thoughts on the last one, but that seems to be a consensus around the women that care about Nebraska basketball.
You don't have any opinions on how Fred Hoiberg is dreamy?
I don't know that I would call him dreamy, but no, I don't really have any opinions on it.
I don't know what you would describe him as, but yeah, we talked about the ticket thing a little bit earlier, and we tend to agree. Here is Pedro. He says, "Hi guys, I have an opinion. There should be a warning light or LED on cars or trucks that are using self-driving mode. This way, I can see the vehicle that is using that feature and move away from it if I so choose."
I actually like this idea because I still just do not trust people relying on the self-driving vehicles, especially if you're on the interstate and the unexpected just happens.
Have you been around? How much have you been around self-driving vehicles?
I've seen so on my trip, we were on the interstate the entire way there and back. There are several Teslas and Cybertrucks out there, and I look into the cars and I see people just
chilling.
They're just chilling. They don't have the hands on the steering wheel, so I'm under the impression they're just being. I guess I haven't really noticed.
I guess I haven't really noticed yet. Schaefer, how much have you been around the self-driving cars? I
have seen the self-driving vehicles where there's nobody in them that do pickups and ride shares and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But I haven't been on the interstate and thought oh, that Tesla isn't driving his own vehicle, or the person in that Tesla isn't driving right now. To be honest, I never think about it in that sense. It's more when I'm standing on the curb and I watch the driverless vehicle go by. I'm like, oh man, that's an experience that I have yet to find for myself, and I don't really want to at this point.
I never took the Zooks while I was in Las Vegas. We never got around to doing it, although I was very interested in doing it. So I really have yet to experience. I've never come into contact with any sort of self-driving vehicle at this point. So we'll see what happens when we do. Maybe we agree with Pedro, maybe we don't. Pedro has another one. He says, "Hi guys, I like Joey's idea of making the troughs multi-purpose, maybe a very large bird bath or a fountain in a Husker park." What's a Husker park? I don't know. Each one labeled from which bathroom they came from. Grandfathers can take kids and tell them that I used that trough in the worst winter fans have ever seen. Wow, the memories they could share.
Here's another idea. You could use it as a garden. And then
I'm interested.
You have there's some ideas flowing around with the garden.
You don't have to use it exclusively as a trough, Schaefer. Open up your mind.
Yeah, I am now imagining people
some
walking
produce.
around the University of Nebraska's campus, and there's just this beautiful, now refurbished water fountain that features the troughs of Memorial Stadium. You know, as you're going through the green spaces, what limited ones they have now on city campus because they've taken most of the green space away. But what they do have, they just have these majestic trough fountains that you can walk by. I think that would really be a boon to the aesthetics of campus.
I've often said, Schaefer, we need to do more to commemorate our past. I mean, there is sometimes just a willingness and a necessity to move on to the next, the bigger and better thing, and build new things and all the things like that. But we don't do a good enough job, I don't think, in society anymore at commemorating the things that we the people and the things that paved the way for us to do what we do. And so I think it'd be nice to have some sort of, just some sort of monument, some sort of recognition that this is where we came from. And maybe
my favorite part about that monologue is that it involves a trough from the literal Memorial Stadium, in which we debated its naming rights. And there's at least one radio show host on our station that feels like Nebraska's making a mistake by not changing the name of Memorial Stadium.
I don't believe that those two things have anything to do with each other.
No, they're not correlated. Okay, my bad. Sorry. Sometimes I just go off on these side tangents. You guys just have to rein me in. I apologize.
I have an opinion from the text line. There is a conspiracy between the city of Omaha and auto repair businesses, and that's why potholes never get filled in an expeditious manner.
Look, the tire place that I was at, they're doing business. We'll just put it that way.
Business is booming.
He's like, we've gone through some tires this week. I was like, oh, I wonder why. Wonder what's happening about town.
Interesting. I wonder, and maybe this is all a conspiracy to get the streetcar funded, or whatever it might be.
Maybe Big Tire is lobbying the hell out of Omaha's local government to not fix some of this so they can continue to hawk tires in this area.
I've heard business is definitely booming. Here's a text from the 402. I have an opinion. The quad box sucks. It makes your big TV small. And outside of NFL Sundays, I generally only have one game that I'm interested in anyway. You know what, Texter? I generally agree with this statement. I don't like using the quad box, and I also don't like using multiple TV. Like, I just kind of like watching one thing. I don't know. I'm old school that way.
What I do with the quad box, I mean, when the Packers are on, I will have that game as my main TV, and then the other TV, I'll just have 4 other games I'm kind of interested in, just paying attention to during the commercial.
This is why, I mean, for the NFL,
that's why it's there.
For the NFL, this is why I watch on Red Zone, because I don't really care about one more than the other, and then I watch the individual time games. Like, so for let's say there's 4 NBA playoff games going on at the same time. I equally care about them in a very, very small manner. That is an appropriate time for a quad box, right?
So,
like, I don't care about any one of them, but I would like to keep tabs on all 4 of them. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
The quad box value for me is like when my team isn't playing, but I want to have the sports on in the background, so I have 4 college basketball games or 4 baseball games. Not that there's really ever an opportunity where there's 4 baseball games on national broadcast at the same time, but you get the general point. I will say, one of the fascinating things where you and I could not diverge more greatly is on Red Zone, where I do not care about its existence at all.
Yeah, you hate
Red Zone. I think Red Zone sucks. The experience is so disconcerting, and I would much rather just like have the 4 games in the quad box on a side TV and then the Vikings on the main TV than ever have Red Zone on. Like, I have never been converted to the Red Zone experience.
I will give you this, Schaefer. Like, I have thought about the last couple of years. Like, I've thought about getting Sunday Ticket to have access to the complete picture of the NFL. Like, and I completely understand that is a better viewing experience. But I just like Red Zone just does enough for me, and it keeps me entertained. And like, I'm good with it. I know that there's better options out there for me, but Red Zone does just enough to keep me like, I'm I am at least aware of all the happenings in the NFL, and that's enough for me. If
I think in your
know,
situation, it makes sense because you don't have like a team that you really particularly care about. Sorry, Panthers, but if we're honest, you don't really have a team that you care about that much.
right? Like I'd be getting red zone for the Panthers. Like who does that?
Plus, at
Psycho.
this point, you can choose between myself, Josh Peterson, and I'm sure others who already have Sunday ticket. So there's less reason for you to get it than ever before.
But then I would have to go to Josh's house and watch on Quad Box, and I don't want to do. I would just rather watch on Big Red Zone at my house.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you felt the need to go out, you have the opportunity to have Sunday ticket somewhere.
That is true. There's no doubt about that. Let's see to the next one. Ryan in Delaware. I have an opinion. Wow. Insurance companies are evil, and so are the adjusters who work for them. The purpose of insurance is to take care of people who pay for it, but every insurance company tries to find any way it can to weasel out of taking care of their customers. The worst in the world. Shout out to insurance companies.
That sounds like there's a very specific thing that happened for Ryan in Delaware.
It does. Here's John. I have an opinion. You may not like trough talk, but I would rather hear about what's going to happen to the troughs than about how the amazing football team is going to be this year before they go 4-8.
Why would you care about the troughs if you don't care about the teams of which the trough actually exists for? I guess would sort of be the question.
Well, the troughs aren't necessarily Nebraska, the Nebraska football team troughs. There are troughs.
How are they not the football team troughs when they reside in the football stadium? And
they're the state's troughs, Schaefer. There are troughs. You don't have the football team doesn't have to be good in order for the troughs to mean something to you.
I agree. I'm just saying I find it odd to be in that position. That's all.
Maybe. Here's Aaron. I have an opinion. If your stadium isn't in the city, you are okay. Hold on. If the stadium isn't in the city you are named after, TV should not be able to showcase the pretty city that it is named after. San Francisco 49ers? Nope. You get ugly Mark Zuckerberg. Patriots? Nope. Suburban houses in the stupid mall around the stadium. Future
I like
Chicago
this.
Bears? Gary, Indiana only.
Yes.
Future Chiefs? NFM B-roll of couches and chairs.
Honorable mention, the Giants and the Jets.
Jersey.
Yep, Meadowlands. Yeah.
and their big what is it? The American Mall or whatever they have over there.
Something like that.
In Jersey. This is a good rule.
I like this one a lot.
like it.
Yep, this is my opinion of the day so far. That's the leader in the clubhouse.
Now here's the problem. People would have issue because it would ratify that Nebraska has to have cornfields in every broadcast because like there are parts of Lincoln that are just empty and open spaces. They would be able to do Lincoln.
Would this apply to the Minnesota Vikings? Because Vikings are very tough. They will fight off the cold weather, whereas the football team, they play indoors.
But you would be able to showcase Minneapolis because they actually do play in downtown Minneapolis.
Yeah, the stadium's in the city, which I think was the point of the opinion.
Okay.
Less so that the
I'm thinking of another thing.
You're thinking of the name representing the team?
You were thinking of if they could only show Vikings on the broadcast.
That would be amazing.
You mentioned Nebraska and corn.
That's true. That is true. This is an interesting idea. And I am fascinated by it from Aaron. Let's see. We got some emails here. Here is Seth. I have an opinion. Live golfers should be able to return to the PGA Tour immediately, but before they can earn any prize money, they have to place in the top 10 in 5 PGA Tour events, one of which has to be a major. I don't think that's not funny enough.
That's very specific. Some of those guys would be able to do it. I don't know that a lot of them would. I don't know that Harold Varner's placing in 5 events again.
Harold Varner is one of those guys you look at, you're like, you know what? I kind of get it, man. Good job,
dude.
buddy.
I'm happy for Harold Varner. He was in the final group on I think it was the British Open, where he was playing so bad on Sunday that the television wasn't even showing his shots. Like he's playing with the eventual champion, but I think he shot like a +8 that day, and so they couldn't show anything he was doing. That's probably my strongest Harold Varner memory at this point in time.
they would just go away to a different hole while he was playing, and the other people in the threesome were like actually hitting shots that mattered.
It's funny because it was like you would see him at the green. It was the only time you would see him, or standing nearby whoever it was on the tee box. But otherwise, he just ceased to exist whenever there was coverage of that specific hole. With the I can't remember who he played with. I don't remember who won that year. I'll look this up.
Here is Bad Takes Doug. I think he sent this in last week, and so maybe we got to it, but maybe we didn't. But I do think this is an important opinion to share. He says chicken and waffles are not a thing. Chicken is crunchy / salty / greasy, while waffles are bland and need buckets of syrup. Syrup on chicken is gross. Either order chicken or waffles, but not both. Make a damn decision, people. That's Doug.
Yeah, I'm pro chicken and waffles, so I can't get on board with that one. I
kind of feel like you would be chicken and waffles. Like, so I've had the opportunity to have some chicken and waffles before, and I got to be honest with you, like I don't really love it. I don't like. I'm not as vehemently against it as Doug is, but I don't think the combo makes enough. Like it doesn't make enough sense to
The
me.
combo is just not for me as well. It just doesn't sound appetizing.
Yeah.
To have them both together.
And so like I once again I probably lack the appropriate amount of sample size and data to be able to be like, no, this shouldn't be a thing for anybody. But in my experiences personally, I have not enjoyed the combo, and I don't order it when I go to breakfast.
It's also one of those things I will say, like where you get it is going to make a giant difference. If you're just having it at a random place where they don't really, do either of those things well, it's probably not going to go particularly well either.
I really like chicken. And I really like waffles, and I just syrup on chicken doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It feels like it's ruining the chicken and the syrup.
It's ruining the chicken and the syrup. I think the flavor works off of it if the chicken is seasoned. And
you want to dip the chicken? Like if you were given the opportunity, if you got some Raising Cane's chicken fingers and you were like, hey, would you like to substitute your cane sauce with syrup today? Would you do that?
Are you prepared for what I'm about to say?
You're an idiot. I don't think so.
I dip McDonald's chicken nuggets in the honey. So that's similar to the syrup. So I'm already preconditioned to be on board with the chicken and waffles. Now, honey and syrup aren't the same thing, but they're in that weirdly doesn't seem that
offensive to me. That weirdly doesn't seem that offensive to me. I don't know why, but it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't get the barbecue sauce. I don't do it with, ketchup or ranch or whatever else. I get the little honey packets from McDonald's when I have chicken nuggets. It's great. It's truly great.
I always get their honey mustard. Their honey mustard is terrific at McDonald's.
I'll have to try that. You told me about a sauce. What's the sauce at Chick-fil-A that you told me about that you like?
The Polynesian sauce.
Yeah, I got to try that too. I need to, Joey, write this down somewhere. You can read my memory on this.
I forgot. I have to remember for you guys.
Have to remember things. By the way, we did add something to the list while you were gone, and
the proclamation.
We were mutually proud of ourselves for doing it. I don't remember what it was.
I could pull it up.
Here's a text from the 402. I have an opinion. I heard one of the funniest lines ever while utilizing a trough. A guy 2 or 3 people to my right leaned over and I don't know where this is going, by the way. Leaned over and looked well down the trough to our left, apparently addressing a friend of his, several people to our left. He said, hey, Steve, that looks like something, only smaller. Everyone within earshot laughed heartily, making many shaking and crossing streams with their neighbor. Can't recall if we won this game or not, but hey, it made the day worth it. That's a great experience at a trough. You don't get that without troughs. I will admit that.
You don't need that experience either. I mean, you don't have to have it.
But it makes a bad day at the yard. Nebraska's getting beat by, maybe it was the Oklahoma game in 2021.
I feel like you're talking yourself into troughs now. You've gone the other way with it.
Yeah, I do. I want to add a little devil's advocate to the situation. That's all.
By the end of this, you're going to be the one buying the trough.
Yeah, I'm going to be the one pining for the troughs. John says, Syrup does not belong on chicken or sausage for that matter. Why are you ruining the meat?
Yeah, I don't agree with this. That's okay though. It's a flavor palette thing.
I had breakfast over the weekend. Where did I? Oh, it was at the ballpark, and one of the options on the meal, on the breakfast meal, was French toast sticks, or maybe some sort of like French, and they had the little syrup cups to dip them in. That is a great breakfast. French toast sticks.
Yeah.
Shout out to French toast sticks. That's my opinion.
It's a good breakfast.
It is.
Good breakfast.
Let's see if I got any tweets here before we move on. Here is Nick. I have an opinion on their way to another down year. Creighton basketball fans will definitely be bringing up the competitive excellence fee progressively more and more throughout the season. Yeah, they probably will be. If it goes bad, that's for sure.
What's the competitive excellence fee?
They just they raised prices like by a percentage and said it was a competitive excellence fee or something like that to help
for ticket holders, season ticket holders, that kind of
I believe so. I didn't read it in full, but I believe that is the case.
I talked to more people that sit in the 200 in the 220s, but not specifically 220 at Golf League the other day. So there's a lot of them up there. I'm
220
looking forward
boys.
to my experience going up with in the 220s.
All right,
You know,
we'll get
where
Schaefer up there.
seems to be where the people are at. So
here's Alan. I have an opinion. All the other Husker athletics having success while football is still finding itself is good for the department and school to see the university can be successful, and it forces football to produce something. I don't actually think it has any real effect on football, but it is nice to see them have success. I will say that. Yeah.
yes, success is good.
Here is Joel. I have an opinion. The troughs could make a nice toddler bed with a built-in drain for those going through potty training.
Horrifying.
All right. Here's Sam. I need Nebraska Twitter to decide if they want 1620 to be critical or sunny about Husker football because they complain about both. That is true.
That's true.
We would love to know. Let us know.
I'd love for them to make a decision. Also, Sam, I have an opinion. I enjoy the Packers Sunday Night Football intro, outro, B-roll because Green Bay has no skyline, so it's always making cheese heads or the river.
The Fox River.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the Fox River.
Why don't they do Milwaukee? How mad do you think the Packers fans would be if they did Milwaukee?
Well, I don't know what they did in the 90s or early 2000s, but they used to play a game over
in Milwaukee County Stadium.
Yeah, at the county stadium.
So what if they did what if there was a Nebraska football game and they came in with a B-roll shot, like a drone shot of downtown Omaha? What would happen?
Oh,
here?
man.
I feel like they've probably done something like that before.
I feel like it would not go over well.
Probably not.
They may have done it before, but maybe it went under the radar. I don't know that would go.
Well, the quarterback loves the food scene in Omaha, so maybe show some restaurants in Omaha when they open up the 2026 season against Ohio.
Shout out to Tony Calandria.
Here's hoping when it's finished that we just get a wonderful shot of the streetcar in all of its glory before Nebraska.
And it's like dinging its little bell going down the street.
Or the wonderful Buc-ee's in Gretna.
That's true. You could definitely do a drone shot of the Mega Buc-ee's when it goes.
Do we think the Buc-ee's is actually going to happen?
I'm about 50-50 on it.
I'm starting to get concerned. Concerned that the Buc-ee's that I have built all of my hopes and dreams of living in the metro area and being near a Buc-ee's, it may not come to fruition.
Yeah, it feels like another thing in Gretna that we've been promised and that we might not get. Let's see. Here is Aaron. I have an opinion. The NFL should try switching out every other quarter for announcers like baseball on the radio. Could you imagine Jim Nance providing color for Tony Romo? That's a preseason game that I would watch.
Hey, so I actually learned something yesterday that I think affects the Royals and explains why they have so many different lineups. Major League Baseball. I
heard this about Cleveland. Yes.
So Major League Baseball has come to the teams that they have with their contracts where they have their media rights. And they're basically like, we want you to give your broadcasters more time off. And we want you to switch up your broadcasting lineups more often. And so I think that's partially why you have less Rex Hudler and everything else. So
yeah,
my guess is it's that way. And Cleveland just had a reporter report it, and the team verified it and everything else. So
I saw that I saw that floating around there, and sure enough, I was watching the Royals last night, and it was Ryan and Hud and Joel, just like the good old days, and they gave Hud a great shot of the moon, and Ryan was trying to goad him into calling it a beautiful planet, and he didn't do so. It was great.
Out in Sacramento, that's where Cleveland's headed next.
Yeah, it was out in Sacramento. The ball was flying last night for one team, but not for the other. Let's take a quick break. Thank you for sending your opinions in. We always have a stray opinion or two, so you can continue to send them as long as you want. We'll be back with Brian Christopherson coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
I hope people have strong opinions on this. We'll see if Brian Christopherson does, as BC joins us now on the Prairie Flag Casino Zone hotline. Good morning, BC. What's up?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Would you, on a Nebraska football home game broadcast, let's say big game, CBS has got the thing coming in, and they're like, would you rather see B-roll of the downtown skyline of Omaha or a cornfield that is somewhere in central Nebraska? Which one more accurately depicts what it means to go to a football game at Nebraska? You get one or the other, no in between.
I think they should do the downtown one. One puts it off the cuff answer, because just to throw people, just to throw the viewer off a little bit. They're so sure. You're so sure. Like when you're watching like the Seattle Seahawks, for instance, at some point you're going to see a guy catching a fish, right? Like in the market, like they always show that shot.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that's always like a second quarter staple, like a slippery fish, a guy can't hold on to it. So I think like they should have a season where the people who have these decisions to make should find things to throw curveballs at the audience, where they're like, wait, am I on the right game, sort of thing. So that's why I give that answer.
Dude, BC, that would really throw me if there was a game in Seattle and they didn't have the guy catching the fish at the fish market. I would be completely disoriented.
Yeah, and that was the only one I could think of offhand. But like every spot's got their staple visual, and
so like in Philly, you don't get the cheesesteak shot. Instead, someone's just eating a paella, maybe at a baseball game.
Yeah, exactly. They're like at a nice Indian restaurant that's in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, so Brian, I'm curious, what do you think of, because I don't know that we've just asked you directly about just your thoughts on the idea of 5 for 5, and then what it might mean for Nebraska's football roster as the numbers and everything sort of shift and change, if this is what happens going forward. How do you feel like Nebraska football can incorporate the 5 for 5? What do you think of the general rule?
I like the general rule. Just if we can get actual guardrails where it's like, this is it, this is what everybody abides by, the deal. I've been covering it long enough that I remember when a guy had to, sit out a year after transferring. And I'm not saying a guy shouldn't have one free transfer, but I like the idea of you get one transfer and then you would have to sit, but it's a 5 for 5 rule. That way we cut out this guy is, 28 years old and still playing. No offense to the guys who have taken advantage of it. Like I'm happy for like a Javen Wright situation when he's been through, hell and back with injuries, and he's able to kind of finish, playing football like he dreamed of at Nebraska. So that there are cool stories that have come out of it. But I like it. And I think, I don't know if it's good or bad for Nebraska. I feel like this is a program that they really want to be that development school that takes a lot of pride that they don't just have a mass exodus of transfers to begin with. And they like to have those guys who are in their third and fourth years in the program. And honestly, this season is going to be decided in large part by those type of players where they've got to make that move now. And so I think, from Nebraska, like inside their walls, I would suspect they kind of like it and think that kind of fits who they are. But now you gotta truly develop those players and make the most of it.
BC, I often say this about Nebraska football quarterbacks: you either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. So, what is the more what is the more likely scenario after this year, given that we are likely getting another year because of that rule of Anthony Colandrea? Either A, people are sick of him and they don't want another year of Anthony Colandrea, or B, they're excited about the progress that has been made this year and excited for year number 2, where it should, potentially bloom into whatever it's going to be.
I have to pick one. I have to say it's going to be one or the other.
I mean, you could go a wishy-washy, like gray area thing if you want to.
No. I'll lean optimistic. I'm eager to see him and just see what his ability to stretch and extend plays does for this offense. And one thing I noted when writing about the quarterbacks the other day was, Nebraska hardly threw the ball beyond 20 yards downfield last year. I think Dylan Raiola, granted it was a short season of, 9 games for him, but he threw 25 passes that traveled 20 yards or beyond, according to the PFF at least. And I was looking at Colandrea's numbers with that, and he threw 76 and completed more than 1,100 yards on those throws. And so I'm going to lean toward excitement because I think he's going to be an entertaining player. Now that it could go the other way if with that he can't make the right educated decisions, as Glenn Thomas calls them, and that interception total really rises. And that's the big question to answer, because while he did have a very good year at UNLV to be the Mountain West Player of the Year, it was 23-9 touchdown interception ratio there. That's the stat everyone always brings up, and it's fair, is he was 26-20 at Virginia in those 2 seasons with that. And so when he's running around and extending a play and giving it a second life, is he going to make that smart throw, or is there going to be the times when he knows to live for another down? That's the big thing. But I think there's going to be excitement about him just to see a quarterback that can move around a little bit more and not to always go back to the past. But I feel like, in college football, it just opens up so many options for you when you have a QB who has a little bit more mobility. I do sense the guys in the program truly like him. Like, it's been a good fit. That's not just from the interviews up at the podium, but from stuff I've heard in the background. Like, he's jumped in and it hasn't been forced or anything. And so that's good. We'll see where that takes it. But I think if I'm a wide receiver, I'm excited that Colandrea is here, because I'm looking at each play like it might have 2 acts to it. Like, maybe it's not just a 4 or 5 second play where if it didn't work, it didn't work, but he's going to extend it and give you a chance maybe to get over the top and really get some stuff done that we didn't see last year.
BC, there's a lot of enthusiasm for Nebraska's offensive line. And so if we know anything about college football, it's you got to have more than 5 linemen. Besides Gunnar Gatula, who's sort of still on the mend, and I think he missed most of the spring, who else should we know of that make up kind of the core group of backups or could be potentially important for Nebraska's offensive line, but might not be a starter right at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think Sam Sledge, it sounded like, got some things done this spring. Like, when at one point, Jeep Wade or Rule, I think it was Jeep, talked about, like, you'd love to have that, like, 8-man rotation. Not like you're always going to play all 8, but you feel like you could go to 8 if you had to. And it felt like Sam Sledge had sort of worked his way into maybe being in that category of that 6 to 8 group. Tyler Kanak, obviously, as a veteran who can play multiple spots, I think would be in there. Of course, Gatula. I think Jeep was really excited to see Gunnar because he was just injured, and the thing I'd say about Gunnar, I think last year he was wounded, and I mean he was playing hurt for a lot of that season, I think, and so it'd be good to see him at full strength. And remember, like, he jumped into that role 2 years ago when he was like 4th string in August, and suddenly he's like starting at left tackle. So there's still a lot of upside to his game. One guy, if he can get healthy, that I'm really interested if we hear about is Gibson Pyle, actually. because a lot of players last off season who were starting kept talking about how he was having a great camp and then he got injured. And so he'd be another name.
Ryan Christopherson from Husker 24/7. All right, BC, we will let you go. As always, appreciate you coming on the show, and have a good rest of your week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Ryan Christopherson from Husker 24/7. Check out the website. Talking little quarterbacks and a whole bunch of different stuff over on 24/7. Let's take a break. We will come back. We could get to that story, by the way, that we left on the table before the competing headline story. We have that. Also, I'm excited to see which Big 12 schools opt into a $30 million credit line. We'll pick out some nominees when we come back on 1620 The Zone. The Green for the Green 5K sweepstakes is powered by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. You could improve your golf game, get better sticks, get a membership, whatever, with your 5K. If you win the sweepstakes, contest runs through May 19th, and it's powered by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. Here is the story from earlier about Casey's and Iowa football players. It's not an NIL deal anymore because Jennings Dunker is now in the NFL. So they're just called endorsement deals now, I suppose. This is from the Des Moines Register. For more than 40 years, Casey has been a favorite for Iowans when it comes to pizza. Known for selling many different types of pizza, the popular Midwest convenience store chain is now bringing back a well-loved option to its menu. Casey's is partnering with former Iowa Hawkeye Jennings Dunker to offer the bacon cheeseburger pizza. Once again, Dunker says, I've been eating Casey's pizza for years. It's hands down my favorite pizza. The first time I had the bacon cheeseburger pizza, I was in heaven. Now it's back with crispy fries, and it's like, yeah, that works. Casey's is always bringing unexpected, delicious favorites, and this is a winner for summer.
Now, this is a pizza I would be open up to. It's not extravagant like the California Pizza Kitchen kinds. We've seen the barbecue chicken and all of that.
I didn't know that. First of all, let's reverse here a little bit. I didn't know that the Casey's bacon cheeseburger pizza was like this loved thing, and then I also didn't know that it was gone from the repertoire. Right? I guess I never really noticed, partly because, contrary to you, Joey, it sounds like something that I would actually never order or try to get at a gas station. Certainly not a full pizza of it. As the release goes on, this is from Casey's Senior Vice President Brad Haga. At Casey's, when guests ask for something back, we don't just bring it back. We do it with an unexpected twist. Summer is the perfect time to bring back the bacon cheeseburger pizza.
Okay.
And have a little fun with it. Casey's has also added crispy fries as a new side item for customers to enjoy, along with the returning bacon cheeseburger pizza. Apparently, Casey's will have it on the menu starting yesterday through September 8th. And the fries will be a permanent addition to the Casey's menu. So if you're interested, you can now get Casey's French fries, which is sort of fascinating from a variety of different angles. I might try it.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm open up to bacon cheeseburger pizza.
Schaefer?
Taco pizza is also a great one.
I would try the Casey's French fries. Unfortunately, because of technical issues, I missed whatever the pizza was.
Bacon cheeseburger pizza. So my question was in twofold. First of all, did you know that this is such a loved food item from Casey's, the bacon cheeseburger pizza?
I know that they've done it. Like I've seen them have it, or I've seen on their like signage or whatever that they have it. I've never had it.
I guess it was gone and now it's back because Jennings Dunker has brought it back.
Okay. Wow. I'm not a cheeseburger pizza person generally, mostly because it probably comes with pickles and I don't want pickles on a pizza ever. That sounds like the worst thing ever. So there's that, but I don't know. Just I'm good on the cheeseburger pizza thing. Taco pizza I'm good with though. I can do taco.
Are you out on pickles as a whole?
Yeah, I don't like pickles. I don't
Oh,
like
no.
the texture. I don't like the taste.
Joey has never been more incredulous.
no.
The guy who doesn't like 50 kinds of food is upset that I don't like pickles.
Hey, I like 50 kinds of food. I'm just not a pizza guy.
You don't like ice cream.
You just don't like
pizza,
California
you
pizza.
don't like-
Kitchen.
yeah.
It's
Ice cream is too cold. I can't
not-
do sweets. Pizza just needs to be simple.
I
Bacon
can't eat
cheeseburger,
spaghetti.
simple.
I don't,
Ice cream
Spaghetti is stupid.
Ice cream is too cold. Spaghetti is stupid. But I can't believe you don't like pickles.
Yeah,
Is an
no.
incredible string of
Right, yeah.
sentences to put together.
Yes.
There's nothing about a pickle that I like. I don't like the texture. I don't like the taste. There's nothing about it.
And
I
they
don't want
say
the
that
pickle
I
juice.
have the crazy food takes. Look at these. I'm surrounded by two people.
They're not as horrendous as Josh Peterson's food takes.
Thank you, Joey. People say that I have bad food takes,
Did
and yet
you?
they must not have met my friends.
There was a segment where Josh and John yelled at each other over how John likes his grilled cheese last night. That
I
was
didn't hear this.
it was on Dumb Debates, and he brought up this like grilled cheese, and apparently John, everything he eats has to be burnt, I guess is what Josh was insinuating. So if nobody heard that, it was pretty great radio from those two.
Did John accept this premise? He
No, he got very mad about it. His
No.
wife apparently claims he only makes burnt chicken wings, like he can't make regular chicken wings, and so then he was offended by this, and it went a lot of places, as Dumb Debates often does, but the star of the show was grilled cheese, apparently.
We should probably have some sort of a cook-off amongst us just to see how it works. I mean, obviously Matt would take it really, really seriously and then put too much slap your mama on it and then lose.
What would the item be that we would bring in? Like, you'd need some sort of easy, and then obviously we're across multiple.
Just do a crock pot or a soup.
Okay.
We each make a I mean, chicken wings. I mean, you could do chicken wings. They're sort of a difficult food to make.
1620, the potluck, I guess, is what we're doing here.
You just each bring our own, like whatever we do best.
The next time we have one of those meetings, we just have stuff and it's just sitting there ready to go.
We'll just have a chili cook-off and let Josh Otson judge. He's that
chili guy.
He's a big chili guy.
Aaron says Josh eats way more stuff than Joey does at this point. Josh used to be picky, but then his wife changed a lot of that. Out on pizza and pasta is one of the wildest takes ever. I just like how you said it. Spaghetti is stupid. It's a great line.
Pizza. I have a select few I will eat, and then pasta. It all comes down to being authentic. I don't like Americanized Italian food pastas.
Okay.
I like the good all authenticity. Or what?
Okay. Well, I mean,
would you eat
like,
Chinese noodles? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I eat Chinese noodles.
You can make a really good authentic spaghetti. I mean, they make spaghetti in Italy.
But would it be stupid?
We don't know.
More than likely.
All right. Well, we'll continue on that conversation. Also, we want to hear from you. 402-951-1620. 9 o'clock hour. Max Solson will join at 9:15, 9:20. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Welcome back. 9 o'clock. The final day of April. May is tomorrow.
It's about to be May.
I already had Crash make that joke to me when I was out getting water. He said something about this meme that he's seen. He says he doesn't know what it means. And I was like, how do you not know what it means? It's just Justin Timberlake saying it's going to be May.
Yeah.
And it's pretty self-explanatory. Don't you remember NSYNC?
He legitimately did not know.
He may have been putting on an act. He may have been acting like he didn't know, and he actually did know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're only a few days from the all the May the 4th, all of that. Once we can get on the other side of that, I think we're going to be okay from the May memes.
Which one is worse?
May the 4th.
It's going to be May or May the 4th be with you?
May the 4th.
I don't know. I'm not sure one way. You probably get the May the 4th be with you more. But if you haven't seen, like, if you still have Facebook and you're scrolling around on Facebook today and you don't see Justin Timberlake with his ramen noodle hair and it says it's going to be May, then you're probably not like friends with enough people on Facebook.
I have a prediction that Grimm will have some sort of Star Wars related thing for their show opening graphic on May the 4th. Like, that feels like a pretty safe bet.
So that's what, Monday, right?
Yep. Yeah, Monday.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good. Put that in the prediction column. That's for sure. Right. By the way, there was another opinion regarding Nick earlier. We never read it. It was Mark. He says, when Nick Grimm of Unsportsmanlike Conduct tells he's going to go tickle chains, it sounds super creepy. Just tell us you're playing Frisbee golf with the rest of the hippies. Sounds much better and less creepy. Also, congrats on the wedding.
There was a, I don't know what the actual equipment is called in Frisbee golf as it relates to the chains and the goal that you throw it into. But they had one of those at the wedding. And I was like, of course.
It's just sitting there?
Yeah, there was one just on the property. Maybe that's why they chose the place. I don't know.
You don't think they strategically placed it there?
I think they did, but I don't know for sure. I didn't want to ask because I didn't want to open up for a conversation about Frisbee golf.
Because nobody wants to talk about Frisbee golf. That is most certainly true. Okay, yeah. Chance is giving us the rundown. So May the 4th be with you, Cinco de Mayo, and then Revenge of the 6th is all next week. Dear God. Get ready.
Star Wars.
Get ready. The Star Wars freaks are Star Wars freaks. And then it'll be Mother's Day. And then it'll be, I don't know, like,
Nebraska Creighton Part 3.
Nebraska Creighton Part 3. There's
a lot of zone birthdays.
By the way, quick thing. How many people? Now, I don't know. I don't have any sort of idea on this yet. I would imagine that there is a very good crowd, best in a while, for the May 12th, the finale between Nebraska and Creighton baseball. Should the weather be good, there's fireworks, I believe, planned for that night at the Chuck Box. Can we get this thing back over 10, 15,000 like the good old days? Can we bump that number up in a couple weeks here?
I will be bringing at least 4 people there. So, I can promise whatever the normal number is plus 4. I can't speak for anybody else.
Okay. The normal number, we would sit in probably at about 5,000-6,000.
Yeah, I was thinking 6. Yeah.
Yeah, for a few years now, but man, back in the day, we were rocking that thing 20 plus.
It always depends on the weather. If the weather's nice for that game, like, it's a sort of the school year's winding down. It's a 6:00 start, I think, on a Tuesday. I would anticipate there'll be a fair amount of people that go to that for sure.
All right, so let's see. We'll see what it looks like. By the way, Creighton plays next Tuesday at home against Kansas. So if you're a Nebraska fan and you're interested in rooting against Kansas in the blood feud, you could come out and root for the Blue Jays. I'm sure you're going to be wanting to do that.
It's an option, or you can just, enjoy the game from the comfort of your couch and watch Connor Happer on the call, right?
No, I believe that'll be on television. That'll be on real life TV next week. So I don't know who's doing it. Maybe it's Putney or something like that. But yeah, it's not. I'll be on the radio that night.
Oh, look at that. Okay. All right. I apologize. Stay at home and listen to your radio by your fireplace, like the good old days. Or you could just say like, "Hey Google," and tell it to listen to 1620 The Zone. You can listen to it that way. You have options.
We stumbled upon this topic yesterday. I don't even know how we got there, or if we really meant to do this, but we ended up asking, or I basically asked myself if I felt like Matt Rule was ever going to win 10 games during his time at Nebraska, not total, but in an individual given season. I've already seen people make that joke, by the way. It's inappropriate. All right, inappropriate.
Do they have 10 conference wins in 3 years?
I don't know. That's a great question.
I'm starting to think they don't. First year they would have had 3. Second year they would have had 4.
So let's see. Let me make sure. Last year they went 4-5. Last year, the year before that, they went 3-6, and the year before that they went.
They have exactly 10.
They did get to 10 conference wins over that period of time. Yes,
Whoa.
Which is good. So I wanted to collect opinions from you all, and like Josh texted us yesterday, and he was like, "This is weirdly a fascinating and fun question to sort of dig your teeth into a little bit." And so it's pretty simple, and I want to take a straw poll right now from you all. So let us know 402-951-1620 or on the YouTube or on the text line. Or on Twitter at HappenSchafe. Do you think Matt Rule in his time at Nebraska will achieve a 10-win season? Point blank period. Simple as that. And I'm talking about that you could get to 9 and win a bowl game and get to 10. Also, that also counts. Will
10 wins end of the year.
10 wins in a season at the end of the year during his time at Nebraska. I yesterday said I didn't think so. I said no. Schaefer, I can't remember exactly where you landed on it, but you seem to lean yes.
I went yes.
Okay. Now there was some dispute because you said I think he can win 10, but that he won't, or something like that.
We decided that obviously my wanting to sit on the fence and not offer an actual opinion was not going to be allowed. So then it's revised. I will say yes for the sake of
yes.
Having to choose a side. I will choose yes.
Okay, so Schaefer was forced to pick a side, and he did, and he chose yes. I basically forced myself to pick a side, and I chose no. Sith Destroyer says that is an excellent question. Thank you. Chance says no. Keena says no. Sindelar says 2, which I think means no. Oh yeah, I forgot about.
I thought you did the poll. I
forgot about Insta polls. I got to go back to the Insta poll. Will Matt Rule win? And then the question will be, all right, if he does, when? How soon is that coming?
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the big thing. Like I'm sort of the reason that I would say yes, and I don't think it's going to happen in 2026. So I want to be very clear about that. Is that I think he'll have a long enough runway to get there. Like I tend to think Matt Rule is still going to be here for a while. I know there's a lot of people that certainly don't. But I think there'll be a long enough runway that Nebraska will have things come together, have the schedule, have the season, have the talent, have the players, and win 10 games.
Okay. Here's a couple of comments from you all. Pedro writes in. He says, "Hi guys, I think the Nebraska football team will win 10 games under this coaching staff." I love how Pedro always says, "Hi guys," literally no matter what, every single time.
He's so exceedingly pleasant. I wonder if it's like that, in all facets, or just when he's letting the radio show know that he has an opinion or a thought.
He's an incredibly nice guy. I've met him before at multiple Creighton basketball games, and he's just as pleasant during those events as well. Travis says if Matt Rule wins 10 games in a season, I'll run from Sydney, Nebraska to Sydney, Iowa, eating nothing but corn, taking a page out of Austin Jacobson's book, of which he then faked like he was getting hacked on Twitter, and then we all completely forgot about the entire thing.
That's good for him. I'm happy for him that nobody remembers.
Yeah, it's probably good. So the Insta poll is going on right now. Let's see. I don't know how many people have voted in this, but 67% of you are saying no at this moment. So 2/3 are saying no. Bada Bing says in his defense, if this defense works out and Matt will cancel his little podcast to just focus mainly on football, there's a good chance. Imagine T.O. having a podcast. So let me be clear about this as well. I don't think Matt Rule having a podcast is the reason why that they're not going to win enough games. Is that a hot take?
No, I don't think it's a hot take.
Now, the podcast, this gets into a different conversation too. Like all the other stuff is annoying. And like we've talked about this on this show. That doesn't mean it has to cloud your vision on the things that are or aren't going well in the program. Like whether or not they have a podcast or whether or not he talks to the media or whether or not he is on Pat McAfee's show every week, I don't think really matters all that much, if at all, about their opportunity to win football games, develop players, and do the right things. It is just another thing to comment on while they're not winning football games. So, like, I want to be clear that while I'm not totally optimistic about the direction of where it's like I said, I don't think that they're, I don't think he's ultimately the guy to take Nebraska exactly where they want to go. I'm not pessimistic because he's doing podcasts, right? Like I feel like some people are, or maybe they say out loud that they are for some reason, and maybe they don't actually mean it. I don't know. I'm not optimistic because mostly was what I've seen during the football games in which they've played, which they have left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're taking the no view on it, it doesn't have to be about podcasts or anything like that. It can just be about concerns that he doesn't have the ability to in-game outcoach other teams or make the adjustments that are necessary. And Sam mentioned this yesterday. I ranted about it the other day. My biggest concern with Matt Rule is nothing external, nothing like that. It's that I don't feel like he has a good feel for the team that he has in the games that he's in, and they've lost games because of that. So the reason that I think that this can happen is I think they can accumulate enough talent to have a year in there. And I think he's going to be Nebraska's coach for a little while. Like that's the thing. Like, I don't think this is ending anytime soon. And so I think there will be a time where it all kind of comes together and they can have a 10-win season. He's already shown that they can have winning seasons. He's already shown that they can win 7 games in a year. If they can continue to push up. Now, we have to see that there's the ability to win in 2026, to win games, whether it's against a Washington or to go beat Rutgers and Illinois in November and prove that there's a pathway forward. We still have to continue to see those steps. And I think that we will. But I'm not promising that a 10-win season is going to happen even next year. I know that was sort of, as Sam answered it, 2027 is a year that he thinks that it comes together. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I think it's out there for them to go 9-3 and win a bowl game.
We haven't put Matt Rule through hire, fire, or retire yet, so who knows how long he'll be around.
Yeah. If you're wondering, I think we're up to 7 votes in the poll.
All right, we're rolling.
Maybe 8 votes in the poll. 1 vote yes, which I'm pretty sure was Sindelar after he voted no before the poll existed, and then the rest of the votes are no.
Glad to see that the Insta polls are going so well. This is good. 86% right now of the 7 voters, great sample size, are saying no at this point. By the way, a text from the 602. When you said, "Hey Google, you freaked out my car's media system. Stop it." Well, unfortunately, you just texted that, and I had to say it again because I had to read your text. So bad news for that.
I will not do it again.
Sith Destroyer, one more from Sith Destroyer, says, Schaefer, you're basically saying that if enough people are around him to overcome Rule's shortcomings, then we basically approach a point where we ask him, so what is it that you do here?
This is sometimes what happens with coaches that have issues. You surround it with enough things that you can overcome the issues. I mean, if Rob Orich is a really good defensive coordinator and Nebraska can build a good defense that way, they can win more games playing a specific style. I mean, again, I understand that there's a ton of skepticism and people need to see it. I also think people have completely and utterly decided that the fact that they've gotten to 6 or 7 wins means that's the complete ceiling. I don't think that's the case. I think there's more out there for them.
Okay. Let's put a pin in that. We'll take a break. Max Olson is our guest on the other side. There's always big stuff going on in college football. We're not going back to the courts. Well, we'll probably talk about the courts a little bit, but Brendan Sorsby, I imagine, will be the topic at hand with Max when we return on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Max Olson from ESPN. Good morning, Max. What's up?
Good morning, guys. Good to be with you.
Never a dull day in college football, right? This week we have another new story that is not really about football, but obviously affects football with Brendan Sorsby. It seems that he's going to have a difficult path to playing college football again. Where does this leave Texas A&M? Like, what are they thinking right now? Texas Tech. What are they thinking right now inside of the walls of that program as they may be without their $5 million quarterback?
Yeah, I think a couple things. First, it's like we got to support Brendan Sorsby. We got to get him help. Obviously, if like what's been reported about the volume of betting, even if this was a few years ago, is true. Like, you certainly like good on him for I suppose doing the work and trying to address it. I think that like as this drags on, and this is going to be a lengthy process because it's not like we're at the conclusion here of an NCAA investigation. This is just kind of getting going. But, as this goes on, like I think that all parties are going to have to figure out kind of like what's the best move here under these circumstances. I think for Texas Tech, I would be shocked if they try to go bring in another arm. Like I think they feel good about their quarterback room beyond Brendan Sorsby. And, most programs in this day and age, you can't really say that because you just don't really have backups that you think could start 12 games. But Texas Tech does. Like I think they feel. I know talking with Joe McGuire last season, he felt like Will Hammond is a guy that could be a multi-year starter for them, and he told me could even like go out and break career records for them. Like they love that kid, but he suffered torn ACL at the end of last October, and so part of this is that and they just dealt with quarterback injuries with Baron Morton all season long last year, and so it's like. I think you move forward with Will Hammond. I mean, if there's an angle for Brendan Sorsby to come back, like I think that would be pretty astonishing if that worked out. And maybe the best move for him is going to end up being the supplemental draft when it comes down to it. But I think for Will Hammond, it's like trying to get him back maybe by the end of September and probably rolling with your third string guy for a pretty easy non-conference schedule. They do play Houston in week 3. That could be tough, but I think Tech is probably going to stand with what they've got right now.
Max, when you kind of look at what this means for the Big 12 as a whole, is it a thing where now Texas Tech was the presumed favorite? I think at one point their win total was at like 11 and a half or somewhere in just insane neighborhood of wins. But do you think this opens the door for anybody else in the Big 12 to potentially be a contender? And who would that be? Like, who are the next best teams in this conference? BYU lost twice to Tech last year, but are they in position to maybe move past Tech in 2026?
Wow, citing the win total. Sounds like Schaefer's got a gambling problem, too. We can get to that another time. I think Texas Tech probably looks at it, and just their investment level in their roster from Portal and high school is just at a way different level than the rest of the conference. So I imagine to some degree Texas Tech looks at this and says, like, we're kind of still too loaded to fail. Like if they can get 10 games out of Will Hammond or something like in that range, I think they probably feel like they can repeat as Big 12 champions and go back to the playoff. Part of that is, and these guys are not household names yet, but like they have the best running back trio in the conference without a doubt coming back this year with Cam Dickey, Jacoby Williams, and then Quentin Joyner coming back from injury, who was a big get for them last year from USC. So like I think they feel like they can put a really functional offense on the field. They got one of the best returning tight ends in the country in Terrence Carter. They added 4 receivers out of the portal, and they feel like Micah Hudson, the former 5-star, is really about to take off. So like I to some degree, I think they feel like they can put up points on anybody, no matter who's playing quarterback. Obviously, Brendan Sorsby, they felt like he could play his way into being a first-round pick this year. And so I'm not saying it's not a big loss, but, I think you'd still probably have to call them the Big 12 favorite. There are a lot of teams that won a lot of games last year that have their quarterbacks coming back. I think BYU and Arizona and Houston all feel like, hey, we had great years and we're just kind of building on them. Like they lost some to the draft, but not a ton. And so I there's certainly a group of teams that's right behind them. I think Oklahoma State, is such a fascinating experiment because they got like 90 new players, but I think they feel like offensively they have a chance to be competitive right away. Arizona State also like brought in a lot of really good players. So like there's a lot of teams that I think can give them some trouble, but also like Texas Tech threw a relatively easy schedule and not having to play BYU or Utah. And so, I still look at them as the favorite, but, certainly like 2 through 5 or 2 through 6 in the Big 12, you've got a bunch of pretty good teams this year.
Hey, Max, speaking of the Big 12, the private capital deal with the outside investors was recently finalized. So Redbird and Weatherford Capital. It's been talked about a lot of exactly sort of what this looks like and what it means. Now that it's here, schools in the Big 12 will have the option to opt into this $30 million credit line that and then they have to probably do things in turn to make it worth it for the capital investment. What do you anticipate this looking like? And are there any schools in the Big 12 that you would view as automatic shoo-ins to be opting into this deal?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think in the past when they've looked at different versions of this, Brett Muir-Marcus told me like there were versions of this they looked at where it was like, all right, we need like a super majority of the Big 12 members to agree to this to get this set up. That is not what this is going to be. In fact, I've seen some reporting that people think there's maybe only going to be a few Big 12 schools that opt into this initially. I think that part of that is just like, what are the terms of it? Is this a favorable enough thing now that we're willing to sign on for it? But I don't think that, like, not to be cynical, but like the schools that sign on to this, I don't think this is like, okay, now that we've done this, we've closed the gap on the Big Ten. It's just like probably more to the extent of like, all right, we're trying to pay our bills here.
Yeah.
We're trying to fully fund rev share. We're trying to like cover our expenses here. And there's been, you hear this about some of the Big 12 schools that like even a year ago, when you go into, post house settlement and rev share, they were like borrowing money from campus to be able to pay rev share. Like for Texas Tech and some of these schools, it's no big deal. But for a lot of them, when you say like it, investing 20 million in athletics and 15 in football, stuff like that, some of them still look at this and say like, okay, like how do you expect us to pay for that? And so I think that's probably where, some of those that need the help, it's a lifeline a little bit. But I don't think that it's something that across the board, the conference opts into and it helps, everybody catch up to the SEC and the Big Ten and just how dramatically different those TV deals are.
Max, from the conversations you've had, and I'm guessing this is at least a topic of conversation, maybe it's not, but how closely do you think schools and agents are watching this Nebraska players lawsuit with the CSC and what that result might mean, especially with being able to kind of use your multimedia rights as a conduit for getting that NIL money to players?
Yeah, it certainly has a lot of attention outside of this market, and I've heard from a few GMs who are like asking for updates and wondering what's going on with this. And I think a big piece of that is just as everyone was dealing with this stuff in January with the portal and having to make bigger promises to players who are trying to sign than ever before, and then trying to figure out how do we pay for that, how do we allocate that money, and how do we deliver on promised money. It's a challenge, not just at Nebraska, but in a lot of places. And I think Nebraska's was more aimed towards trying to be creative with the cap and doing deals with returning players. But there's certainly a lot of schools that have, made those MMR promises to players that they just brought in, who are trying to figure out now, like, how do we get this through the system? How do we get this approval from the CSC and NIL Go to make this stuff work? And I think that was the challenge in January. Is it's just like, all right, it costs what it costs to get these guys. Now for the next few months, we got to figure out how to like make this clean and make this work and launder this money basically. And so, a lot of intrigue around like if Nebraska wins, obviously I think there's going to be a perception that really destabilizes the market in some ways, in a way that I think GMs want, I think ADs want, and certainly for the CSC, they're trying to, show that they have some teeth and that they need to be respected. So super interested to hear how this verdict comes down. And then if it doesn't go Nebraska's way, then certainly, what are the next steps after that in terms of other people getting involved?
Yeah, so I am fascinated, Max. Like, what are other programs doing to sort of be able to move this money? Like, what are some of the things in place at other places? Because it feels like Nebraska has a lot of its eggs in this Playfly basket here, almost as if they knew sort of coming into this that they would be setting up for a court battle. Because I don't know that they have a lot of other things kind of set up that if they lose this case, they're going to be scrambling to figure out how to pay some of these players.
Yeah, again, like that's where you get into, obviously we're already living in a time where there's not really any respect for a cap of $20.5 million, right? Like obviously, the schools that are trying to be the most competitive are going well beyond that and trying to figure out, manufacture, tens of millions of NIL to get where they think they need to get to. And so, I think a lot of it in January when the portal was open was leaning on MMR, leaning on your apparel providers, trying to find these big companies that can help cover the bill on the very, the high expenses of either retaining a player or, bringing in someone and winning a battle in the portal. And so, only you don't you want to be creative about that stuff because you don't want to put all of that on rev share and on the books and official and all that. And so, I think that's where you get into, some murky stuff where it's like, okay, how real are those promises and how do you deliver on them? How do we write that up and how do we, create deliverables and stuff so this all isn't, flagged by the system? And I think in some of these situations where like if that stuff is going to get rejected, if play fly money is going to get rejected because of the way it's written up or it's too great of a number or whatever, then certainly you're just putting the schools on under some pressure here of like just doing this stuff under the table then, and figuring out like, hey, he's got to get paid. We got to figure out a way. And then you're just kind of inspiring more rule breaking there. So I think it's a complicated thing. And every school, there's not really best practices on this stuff, especially as the rules change on the fly over the course of a school year. And so, it's certainly, it's very important to the CSC to win this and prove that they should be taken seriously. And, I think the fallout of this is going to be pretty significant either way.
Max, with all that being said, and needing those extra revenue streams, sort of more than ever to be prepared for, what the future might look like. How does Nebraska's plan of building partially a new stadium and having revenue generation flows, streams off of that to sort of fund these, like, how does that plan sound to you? Because an argument around here that we've heard is, well, I mean, you could just be using a lot of this money that you're putting toward the stadium to fund player procurement. I guess, how does that whole picture look to you?
Yeah, that's probably tough to sum that up in 60 seconds. Here, right. I mean, especially with the history of this place and the challenges and stuff. But I think, first of all, certainly there's something to be said for if this had gotten kicked down the road even more, then you're talking about that stadium project costing $700 or $800. The price is just going to keep going up over time if you keep pushing this off. And so I'm sure that Troy Dannon and Matt Rule and a lot of folks wish that this had all been taken care of a long time ago. But it's something that I think does need to get taken care of now, and they needs to be done in a way that generates revenue. And obviously there's some the devil's in the details there, and the devil's in the details for Trev Alberts as he tried to figure this out. I think certainly what Troy Dannon, and I think there's something that I understand the confusion around this stuff to some degree because it does change every year. But what Troy Dannon has said is right, that you can't, the people you are going to and fundraising and asking them to write big checks, that money can't just, go through 1890 directly to a player anymore. That money would go to rev share, but Nebraska certainly has the funds to fully fund rev share. So I think that there's obviously some conflict there when it comes to, you are going to have coaches that say, hey, I think the rest of the Big Ten has, I think the top teams of the Big Ten have $40 million rosters or more, and we don't. And so how do we bridge that gap? And, I certainly understand if there's any angst from Matt Rule and his, organization on that stuff, totally understandable. But it's also micro macro in terms of I do think it has to get done
right
and get done efficiently. And so, that's an interesting tug of war. And it's, you've heard a lot of people say, well, a lot of the stuff will just kind of get shut down, around the country here as people just invest in the roster. But, we're also totally guesstimating here on if you say there's not going to be a cap in the future and football's, going to just the price is going to keep going up. That's probably true, but we have no idea.
Yeah. It's a tough one to tackle. That's for sure. Max Olson from ESPN. All right, Max, we'll let you go. Appreciate it as always. We'll see which New set of confusing issues we have to tackle next week.
Good guys, take care.
Max Olson from ESPN. We will take a quick time out. We have our bracket sim, and we'll get you out of here on a Thursday on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. Wonder what I said to activate YouTube commenter's phone this time. You just activated my phone. LOL. Maybe I said ESPN like I was Jeremy Schaap.
Maybe he was listening, like he's not on the live feed yet.
Oh,
And then,
he was
yeah.
reminding me. I said Google, and I said, "Hey Google," and then everybody's phones sort of woke
But
up.
you're not supposed to say that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. Hey Siri. Hey Alexa. Now everyone's crap just went off in their house. So my apologies. To the bracket sim we go. Pairratings.com. They have a constantly updated bracket. Let's see where they're pulling this information from today. Bracketology. Gosh, I'm not sure if they have an updated one as of today. Most of the stuff is like updated after the weekend and then like today, Thursday, going into the weekend. But Nebraska, according to the latest, is hosting at the Lincoln Regional as the number 9 national seed. They will bring in Boston College, Gonzaga, and Indiana State.
Boston College, I don't believe it.
So I have a question for you. If you're going to host a regional, don't you want there to be like an SEC powerhouse in there so they can, you could show them? It's like hosting a college football playoff game against like, Tulane or something like that. It just doesn't sound quite as fun.
Yeah, I suppose if you really want the environment to be rocking with another team's fans showing up, I don't think anybody's fans are coming from that grouping though.
No, I don't think so. I do not think so. And Creighton, by the way, has made it, and they will go to Los Angeles to play in this regional. USC, Coastal, and Vanderbilt, along with Creighton. That's a difficult one.
That's a gauntlet.
That's a bit of a difficult one. All right, let's press simulate. Here we go. Nebraska advances out of the regional where they beat all 3 of the teams in their regional, and they meet. Oh, how about this? They win, and so they go to the Super where they get a 3 regional seed in NC State, meaning they are hosting a Super regional against NC State, and they lose 2 out of 3 to NC State and do not go to the College World Series, sadly. And so Nebraska gets out in the Super Regional. Creighton obviously doesn't make it out of their regional. They lose to USC. And here is your Connor World Series. Florida State, Florida, NC State, Southern Miss, Mississippi State, North Carolina, USC, and Texas. A little heavy on the big wigs flavor there for me.
Yeah, ACC, SEC heavy, except for Texas and Southern Miss.
Little heavy on that one, but that's okay. Then we could go to, man, our internet is very questionable today. If we're losing you on the stream, we apologize. My internet, even on my computer, to just update the browser doesn't even work at this point. So we might not even be able to get to our second beautiful bracket sim of the day, and that might have to just end it. We lost Mike Schaefer. His audio went out. Then he came back. Joey, you look like you're robotic right now on the screen.
Yeah, you're looking robotic from my end.
All right.
I don't know whose fault it is.
That's okay. I think I got it back. All right.
It's not Giancarlo's fault.
It's not Giancarlo's fault, of course. Now we go to the projected bracket. Nebraska hosting as the 11 national seed. Now, this would be a lot more fun. In their regional, Tennessee, the 2, Clemson, the 3, and St. Joseph's, the 4. That's a lot of fun.
That's a gauntlet. That's fun.
That's a lot of fun. I think you want that in your region.
Tennessee fans will travel, and they will try to.
They will be completely outnumbered. They will be completely outnumbered. And then Creighton goes to Tallahassee, where they have to beat all of Florida State, Alabama, and Cal Baptist in order to advance to the next round. I will hit simulate. Nebraska advances out of the regional, gets to a Super, which is starting to be more of a common occurrence, by the way. Keep your eye on that. They're liking Nebraska to get out of regionals a lot.
Especially when you have Tennessee, Clemson, and St. Joe's.
They will go to Chapel Hill for the Super. Ooh. And, I mean, isn't that where they were for the regional last year? Yeah.
It was.
Chapel Hill for the Super and lose to North Carolina, probably because they were able to maximize their RPI by not playing Queens University last night. Creighton loses to Florida State in their regional. And here is your Connor World Series. This is pretty solid. UCLA, Georgia, Mississippi State, Cincinnati, Arkansas, Kansas, North Carolina, and Miami.
Wow.
It's pretty good.
I like it.
Arkansas wins the College World Series against UCLA. Now, wouldn't it be something if Dave Van Horn actually did it this year, considering they're not going to be a host team and they're kind of like more bubbly than hosty at this point? And they got it done against UCLA, the number one national seed that's been the number one team in the country all year. I think it'd be pretty fun.
Are they a 2 or a 3 in the projected region?
They are a regional 2.
Because I've seen them be a 3 sometimes in some of these too, and it's like, whoa! Imagine you get 3 and it's in Arkansas. The baggage that comes with that.
Oh, could be fun. Could be fun.
Could be Lincoln.
Could be Lincoln. You never know. Dave Van Horn, would he get booed out of the stadium? Probably not. He would get cheered.
He would get cheered.
He would get cheered. All right. That will do it for us today. We apologize for our internet issues on the back end. We'll be back with you tomorrow. But don't worry, we have more content coming up for the rest of the day, including the crossover with Matt, which is coming up next.